Hello, and welcome back to XP Waste, where training agility IRL just got a whole lot harder. Hi, I'm Oxie.
And I'm a guy named Sparre.
Oh my god, who?
Uh,
You're not the usual guy!
no, I mean, a little self-docs. I might not be Michael, but my middle name is Michael, so...
Okay, alright.
I'm-
A guy named Sparre Michael, whatever your last name is. Okay, that's fair.
I'm gonna break the illusion slightly. Sparre's actually my last name.
I gotta level with you. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Making your last name your screen name is the stupidest thing you could have done. I cannot stress that
Oh,
enough.
I absolutely am aware.
For people to call you by your legal last name as a screen name, especially when you have a podcast, that's just dumb. I'm sorry, man. That's dumb. But, in any
I'm
case,
sure you're totally familiar with that.
I have no idea what you're talking about. There's definitely not a Saber LeMay hanging up behind me with my screen name on it. I wouldn't ever do that. But yeah, if you're new around here, hello. This guy doesn't normally podcast with us, but our co-host is on vacation. But he has his own podcast, Xpwaste, so you go check that out. If you're not new around here, hi, welcome. I did not get a chance to watch the Summer Summit, so our friend here is going to fill me in entirely.
Yes.
But before he fills us in, I almost said fill him in, but now we're getting into weird territory. Who the hell are you?
Yeah, I am a guy named Sparre. I'm relatively new to the clan. I mean, I've been here for since October, but
so like a year. Cool.
Yeah, like a year, but like I don't know, compared to some people in the clan, they've been here since the start, it feels like. So but I do my own podcast called Xpwaste with my buddy Birdfax. It's also an old school RuneScape podcast where we kind of just ramble for an hour and talk about what's been going on in game and whatever updates are happening. And yeah, I'm working towards max on a main. Don't play Iron Man. Iron Man's stinky.
Good man.
I've tried a couple times, but just not for me. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really have too much else to say about who I am, unless you have any questions about that.
I don't know. I listen to your show on occasion, so it feels weird to me. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly. I also know you from just being in the clan for a year. Like you're very active in Discords and things like that. So, welcome to the party. I just ran into Michael's GIM at Motherlode Mine because I'm here to punish myself because I have. It's not that I have nothing else to do, but like at some point I might need to stretch my foot out, and like lean back with my microphone. So I want to do something that's not very click intensive. Like I have 10 million mahogany logs, for mahogany homes, like ready to go, but but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's a little more active. You're having to kind of pay attention to that.
Anything like the least amount of effort possible, and anything that'll cut through this 500k mining block that I have left to get to 91 for my Grandmaster 2k or 2200 total plan. So
oh hell yeah.
How goes the maxing grind? Well,
I'm currently running Prif laps and only slightly want to alch myself, like a low alch maybe. It's going. I should be doing Sepulcher, but it's hard to do Sepulcher when you're trying to pay attention to other things.
Yup.
I'm not good enough where I can be like, oh, Sepulcher, that's like AFK, man. It's so easy. Like some of the high-level players can say, but...
yeah, couldn't be me. I can't do it.
Yeah, I've been doing agility a lot. I've started trying to finish out prayer. I have it all banked for the Wildy altar. Wildy altar is completely busted. I have 101 prayer banked at the Wildy altar, but only 98 banked if I use a POH.
Wow.
Yeah, just to illustrate the difference in efficiency there.
Yeah.
I've been doing it on the 2200 total worlds because that's
That's bliss.
Yeah,
right
it's so
there.
nice. I see maybe a PK or an hour. Sometimes there can be a lot of people showing up. Last night I was having problems with this one guy just ragging everyone there, so I was trying to do some anti-PKing, and it didn't go so well. I died a couple times, but for like 200k, so it's whatever.
When you get the rag sets going, it's really not too bad. You know. Oh shit! I had pay dirt in the sack. I put the wrong amount of dirt in the sack. Sorry, I fucked up.
I I'm really lazy when it came to Motherload mine, so I just kept a gem bag and a hammer in my inventory the whole time, and didn't worry about like doing variable amounts.
Yeah, I normally do 21 and then 6 inventories of 28, but like CBA, I guess,
Yeah.
you know. So I yeah, it's just it's easier for me to like not have to think. The less I have to think while doing mining is the less I have to think about mining, which is the happier it makes me. Because boy, howdy,
I mean, I can't
this is
recommend
skill.
doing 26 inventory slots enough then. No thinking at all.
It's no think only mine, but
Plus,
well,
all the
that's good.
gems
Were
go into
you?
the sack, so it's pretty nice.
Do they automatically go on the sack?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever used the gem bag that I bought. I think
Um,
I bought it for the collection log slot, and it's been collecting dust in my bank. And I don't think I've ever used it because, like, I'm a main account. I don't need to
yeah.
have gems for anything.
I
I don't know.
I would bring it whenever I was mining, just because it was like, you know, it was -1 inventory slot to never have to worry about dropping gems ever again. So nice for when I was power mining iron or doing amethyst or really anything.
Because you've already got 99 mining, you know?
Yeah, I'm done with that now. So I don't ever
How
have to worry about that.
how close are you to max?
So I am 2230 right now, and if we were to put that in terms of how many hours left, I have 120 efficient hours, which really means
Okay.
I have like 300 hours left to max.
Okay. What skills?
I have I'm about to get 96 agility. I'm at 95 prayer, 92 runecraft, almost 98 fletching, and then I'm at 87 construction and 88 hunter.
Okay. So you can just machine gun most of those skills.
Yeah.
And then agility and hunter will probably take a little bit longer. But hunter isn't that long from what I understand. Hunter is
No,
just
it's
sort of
pretty
like,
quick. I despise the
yeah.
skill.
I really like herbivore, but
Irby's fine.
I'm not a big fan of like much other things
Yeah.
in hunter.
Irby is a nice change of pace from the rest of Hunter, but it's also
Okay.
not like super fast compared to like doing black chins or something.
CBA, I
I know.
hate black chins. I don't think I ever want to catch another black chin again. Because like I sat for like a year with like base 80s minus hunter. Like it was so long it felt like I didn't have base 80s because like chins were just miserable. And then when I finally got 80, I've never looked back. Like I don't think I will catch a chin again in my entire life unless I have to for leagues or on the GIM. There's so many things where like we're talking about right now. The recording booth chat is like, oh my god, leagues, Hunter Guild, like we'll get there,
Yeah,
guys. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So much to talk
Unfortunately,
about.
that content won't come out by the time I need to have 99 Hunter to meet my
Yeah,
goals,
could
which
always wait.
I could always wait, but I have like a lofty idea in my head. At first it was I want to max by the end of the year, but I've realized if I go, real sweaty on my time off, I can get max on my birthday, November 17th.
Okay.
So that's my current goal. I need about 10 EHP a week to hit that goal, which some weeks I can hit, some weeks I can't, but I'm sure once I get through agility and runecraft, which are the two skills that I'm not meeting my EHP goals, I can get it by my birthday. So that's the
Okay.
goal.
Okay, you said time off. You mind asking me what for?
Oh, I just meant like my weekends and stuff. and like after
Oh,
work.
okay. All right. When you can be, if you have time to be sweaty, you got to be sweaty.
Yeah. Like if I'm
Sweet.
playing the game, I need to be doing like sepulcher and tick manipulating chins and stuff, spam clicking the altar. I know, I hate.
This is coming from the guy who's like 408 man TOA. Let's get her going. Like, let's just say, I see you in there with the Raiders all the time. I saw you in there earlier today. It was like 12:15. I was finishing up Achievement of the Week, and I saw you in VC with like 10 people. I'm like, this guy's running high level raids right now. I guarantee.
They offered to have me join them, but I was like, I gotta finish reading these blogs for an undisclosed reason.
Yeah, I was doing the exact same thing. Like I saw people in a couple different VCs. I'm like, not only do I have to read, I have to do like work for the show. Like I have to make sure the Patreon's all set, look at new patrons. I have to get Achievement of the Week going. Achievement of the Week's gonna be good this week. We have some cool stuff.
Oh hell yeah.
But
I don't know if you guys, if I submitted it late or if you missed it, but I actually got another 99 for the last week.
You did, but you think you did it either while we were recording.
Okay.
I think you got it while in the break because it may or may not be on Achievement of the Week this week. Like maybe I wouldn't be 100% sure because I didn't make Achievement of the Week, but maybe your 99 gathering skill is on there, maybe. But I did Achievement of the Week like I think before we went to break, and then like after the break I just like didn't look at it again. So there are a couple people who have achievements from that Sunday that didn't make it on last week's episode.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, I've kind of forgotten when you guys normally do these recordings because I downgraded my Patreon subscription because I am normally at work when you guys are recording, so I can't tune in live.
Yeah,
usually.
I mean it's I don't think that's a bad tack either. Like if the recording booth is why you're doing the wise old man tier and you can't have like access to the recording booth, like
that's why I was at the higher tier. I was like, I want to listen live, but my boss isn't too happy about having earbuds on at work, so
yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I mean, appreciate the support regardless, though. You know.
Yeah, you guys have awesome content. I enjoy it. It gets me through my week.
Thank you. I quite enjoy your guys' stuff too. You guys have you and Birdfax have a different dynamic to Michael and I, which is it's fun to like listen to you guys chat about, all things RuneScape.
Yeah.
I am not a big podcast listener, like period. Like I don't think I listen to my own show at this point unless I have like a really far drive or it's a really good episode. Like I listen to half the episodes in my editing software. So for me, it's like if I either listened to half of them or I was on half of them. So, whenever I do get some time though, I tend to throw you guys on because
hell yeah.
At this point, you guys are the only other podcast that I listen to.
I'm honored.
I'm just not a. Literally, I think prior to making this show, I only listened to like Call Her Daddy, and that show has just been. I don't want to say in the bin, but when I started listening to it in like 2019, 2020, I thought it was much better content. And then like the co-hosts had a huge falling out, and then the content has evolved a lot since. Like, the host that's left will have like Post Malone on the show, and I'm like, it's like a whole like video interview, and it's
just a different
that
thing.
kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just different stuff. And I, again, as not a podcast listener, like it doesn't take much for me to like fall off of a series,
Yeah,
but
that's fair. That's kind of similar to I listened to a podcast, or I used to listen to a podcast called Welcome to Night Vale, which is a fake radio show from like a small town in the middle of nowhere where it's kind of like absurdism. There's just like weird stuff going on. And I really enjoyed it for a long time, but now listening to it, it's like maybe an hour long and 30 minutes of it feels like, or 20 minutes of it is just them reading advertisements for like their own stuff or their other shows. And it's like, man, I just want to listen to the show.
Yeah.
Not all this other stuff. And the story's kind of gone a different way, and I've just kind of stopped being interested in it.
Yeah, narrative really
kind
of took a dip.
Mm-hmm.
But
But I listen to a lot of podcasts, so
Yeah, I don't have a job that kind of lends itself well to podcast listening.
yeah.
Like
Imagine listening to a podcast while you're trying to help some kid with
yeah,
his problems.
exactly. Like, how does that make you feel? Like, what, huh? And then like one ear's them, one ear's like AirPod with a podcast. So I've got time writing notes to do it. I really struggle because I tried this in my internship. I would listen to the Wilderness podcast back when that was a thing. I listened to it in my internship a lot, or tried to, but listening to other people talk while trying to write about a conversation that you had is very like it's very jarring to like not write RuneScape words while listening to a RuneScape podcast trying to like type about a therapy session. Like I really had a hard time doing that. So like I just can't. I just can't, really struggle with that.
Yeah.
But
I don't have issues like listening to other people while I'm listening to a podcast, but the problem is I can't listen to the podcast while I'm listening to other people, if you know what I mean. Like, I end up tuning out the podcast and then I get annoyed because I'm like, oh, I just missed like 15 minutes of what was happening. Now I gotta rewind it, and so I try not to listen to it while I'm talking to other people.
Thinking hard. No, I just can't do anything when I'm listening.
Yeah,
I can't do anything when I'm listening to like a client. Like I can't like obviously be distracted from them because it's a really shitty look for your therapist to be like hold on a second, I gotta unload my ore from the sack here. Like it's a really shitty look, So when I have downtime, it's a little bit different, but like this week the downtime was minimal. Like I had days at work where like I showed up and shit had already hit the fan because I was like, I think on Thursday I was 8 minutes late to work because I woke up at like 7:50, and it's not like I'm not paid by the hour and I'm not paid by the client hour. So I just like, my boss is like, show up whenever, leave whenever, just work full time, like work a full-time block. So I'm really lucky in that regard. But like, I like being there at 8 because that's when the kids get there. If the kids aren't in the building, I have no point in being there. So like, I like to be there when they're there. I don't like to be there before. I don't like to be there after. I got there a little bit late. Everything had gone off the rails by the time I walked in. Like I had 2 minutes in, one of my coworkers called me aside, told me something, and I was like, stop right there. We're within earshot of the kids. I went back to my boss's office like a minute later, and then from probably 8:11 until like 11:40, I was doing all sorts of just like wild and crazy stuff.
Oh man.
And then after lunch, I had more but different wild and crazy stuff happen. And then to cap the whole day off, I was like, all right, we can finally rest, except we can't because I had to do a group with all the parents, like unrelated to what had happened, anything that day, just like the regularly scheduled parent group. So like, I have not had a lot of downtime this week.
A very hectic day.
Yeah, very hectic. In addition to fencing, and in addition to the bingo I was in. I know people have been asking me about the Raids Bank bingo. We took second place, unfortunately, so we didn't get any prize money, but I had an absolute blast in that bingo. Like, it was so much fun. And there was like, call me biased, I don't think TNL bingos have a lot of shitty tiles. And the ones that are intentionally shitty, like get a gout tuber or like do barbarian assault with your team.
You made me have to get a gout tuber. It took so long.
Well, like the idea is like it's tedious, but it's not hard.
No,
like getting a gout tuber isn't gated behind a certain amount of skill. Like barbarian assault is kind of gated, but like it's also not that difficult.
That was a fun time.
I think we're gonna keep making it harder, but that's the thing. Like, if it sucks, we want it to at least kind of be fun. Like, when my team did the gout tuber, we just got back from Calfight Queen, and we all put Fashionscape on. So we had skill capes, infernal capes, all sorts of like fun gear, like all digging in the same world. I think we had like 11 people online digging for a gout tuber. It took us like 10 minutes. Like, it was.
I'm jealous.
It's just like a stupid little fun time that like normally would suck to do by yourself, But this bingo really did not have any shitty tiles. Like, there were some that like, oh god, a dagger from an unsired. That sounds like that sucks.
Specifically a dagger?
Yeah, specifically at Dagger. The one thing they did very differently is they do a lot of clue specific uniques and they do a lot of boss specific uniques. So like and raid specific. So like for example, we do like a point system.
Yeah.
So like get, 5 Tombs of a Masket points where like wards and wards and fangs and light bearers are worth like 1 point, Missouri is worth 2 and shadows are worth 3, right? They'll be like, just get a fang, that's a tile, and then the bonus tiles get a ward, so it's like different roles on the table. They have specific clue uniques instead of just general, like obtain 5 easy clue uniques. It'll be like obtain flared trousers or ham joint, but it didn't feel miserable. Like usually we steer away from that because like specific clue uniques can be really rough. But we didn't really have that hard of a time. Like the rates for some of the stuff, it wasn't anything mega rare, which was nice. It wasn't like get tuxedo from an elite clue, because elite clue uniques are just dog shit.
I despise elites. I think I have maybe 10 elites done.
Yeah.
And I have like I think almost 200 masters completed. Elites are just terrible. I refuse to do them.
Yeah, their logic is like, and I really agree with it, dude. Because elites suck. Their thing is like most people get elites and turn them into master clues. So like it really sucks when you have to like do your elites. Because I agree, they're just terrible.
They just take forever to get. The steps are really weird for some reason compared to every other clue tier.
Yeah, they're like Mod Ash has addressed that on Twitter too. Because like most like clues, like number clues, where like what's the total level of all the Slayer monsters in the Slayer Tower combined? That's an elite clue step. Most of the time when you get that, you read a separate challenge scroll and then you talk to the NPC and you type in the number. Elite clues, you do it right from the elite clue scroll. Like you don't get an additional scroll, you just sort of do that.
It throws me off every time.
Yeah, like elite clues are just coded differently and just weird.
Yeah, and like killing mobs and they like drop the clue on the ground is weird too. I don't know if other tiers do that. I don't think so.
Some of them do, but it's I think they do, because I think you do that for mediums. But most of the medium clues are like you get keys to unlock things.
Yeah,
like it's very rare that you have to kill specific NPCs.
Yeah, I think mediums.
I think it's for elite clues. It's like Bloodvelds, Ankus. I think maybe a Hellhound drops some, and then I think a Crocodile. Because I think the Crocodile step is just after a while. That's what it says on the little scroll there. I think. I'm not sure if that's elite or not, but yeah, elite clues suck.
Yeah, they take really forever to get to, so I'd just rather do a master.
Yeah, they're not bad once you get the elite combat achievements, because the rates really do show in raids. It's like the raids all have high drop rates anyways. Like,
yeah. I haven't been doing my clues lately, and I really should.
Yeah.
I have 3 masters stacked up right now, so I should definitely go do those at some point.
Masters take me a comically long time to finish. I don't know why. Like, a master clue will take me like 40 minutes, like easily.
I mean,
I don't know why it takes so long.
They can take a while for sure, especially if you're having to re-gear a few times throughout.
Yeah, when you get something shitty like the Vialdi caves into like a wilderness step, like they're all terrible.
Vialdi caves, Wildy step, and show up to the guy in Port Phasmatis with a bunch of ranged strength.
Yeah, or like the magic strength and the melee strength, because like I'm not going to take ancestral to the wilderness to get that step done. So like it's frustrating, but you texted when I texted you yesterday, right? I said I had hurt myself, but I'm still down to record.
Okay. Yeah.
And you said that makes 2 of us injured. How did you hurt yourself?
So,
if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah.
And what did you hurt?
So last week sometime I woke up and my back was hurting. Like I pulled a muscle or something while sleeping. I'm like, that's unfortunate. It wasn't too bad, so I just went to work and dealt with it, and it was fine by the next day. But yesterday I was at work and suddenly it just started cramping up again, and I ended up going home early, and came home with my back completely shot. Took a Epsom salt bath and put some heat on it, and I'm still sore today, but thanks back for just randomly giving out for no reason.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like misery.
Yeah. So right now,
you really can't do anything comfortably.
No, I'm sitting with like perfect posture right now in my chair. I have a nice office chair that I got, and I'm trying not to move side to side or move my back at all.
I'm too fidgety for that. It's really hard for me to not, because I do occasionally get back pain as well. I tried to lift a client out of their wheelchair when I was 22, working in a group home, and I heard like a in my lower back, and that's not gone away. It's been like 5 years. So I do occasionally get the like ow, but I move far too much. I'd go insane.
Yeah, I'm very fidgety
I hope
well, so it's not great.
I hope the back thing heals and goes better.
Mm-hmm.
Great strat with the office chair too.
Yeah.
Stop buying gaming chairs.
They're
People
terrible.
buy office chairs. They're the malicious design of the two chairs. Like this is why we're going on a capitalism rabbit hole. This is why it's predatory and it sucks, right? Gaming chairs are designed to be like the ergonomic thing for gamers. They're made like shit. But my Secret Labs chair is so good. It's not meant to last you that long, is the thing.
Yeah, they all have that like shitty vinyl or whatever that like peels.
Yeah, they're meant to be replaced every year or so.
Mm-hmm.
Office chairs are designed for people to sit in and be productive for 40 hours a week or more for like the rest of their lives. So, like, really high-end office chairs are, like, you're supposed to sit in them for a while because you're supposed to be getting work done, right? So, I don't think I'll ever buy a gaming chair. I think I'll get, like, get an office chair and spend the money on that, you know?
Yeah, like
the chair I have is comfortable, but I've had it for a couple of years, and my cat's absolutely destroyed it. I know a couple of times I get up, and people, like, catch glimpses of how rough my chair is. So
yeah, the mesh on the headrest of my chair is coming apart because of my roommate's cat, so that's a good time. But the rest of the chair's doing fine. I hope to one day upgrade to like a really nice chair, like an Ermin Miller or something, or but I just got like a $200 chair or something.
Nice.
From an office supply store, and it's pretty good.
It's the absolute tack.
Yeah.
So if you guys are looking for new chairs and you're gonna like, I want to spend a lot of money on a chair, spend a lot of money on a really nice office chair.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Oxie advice.
If you work from home or if you game at all and you spend 10, 20, 30, 40 hours a week in that chair, it will pay for itself in not having to deal with back pain or cutting off circulation from your legs from those terrible bucket seats that the gamer chairs have.
Mm-hmm. And that's I was like noticing that as well, like because I was putting in some sweaty hours with the bingo. Even like, you know, I want to go to bed at like 11:30. I'm up till like 1:15, 1:30. Because my teammates were like, well, we can just do one top in a trio. I'm like, fine, make it a 4-man. I'll go with, you know. And then, sure enough, we're just up forever doing it.
Yeah.
But I like stand up after a while. I'm like, my thighs feel numb. And that's not how that's supposed to feel. Like, fencing, prior to yesterday, fencing is a very leg-intensive sport. Like, I might be a big guy, but I got some. My thighs are pretty strong, right? Because I got to support my body weight. Because I'm crouching the whole time while I'm fencing. So when my thighs feel like, I'm gonna use the term atrophied when I stand up. I'm like that's not good. Like my thighs feel different and somehow worse after sitting for a long time gaming than they do after fencing for several hours. So, which, God.
Yeah, gamer chairs are just a scam. It's just don't get them.
They really are.
And they all have like, you know, gamer design, so they're all, you know, sharp edged looking and just like I don't I don't understand the gamer aesthetic. I don't want my chair to look like that. I don't want my keyboard or my mouse to look like that. Just give me something that is functional and is comfortable.
And I think that works well for like the younger gamers. Like when I was 19, if you gave me the opportunity to have like an all black everything with red tint and like some RGB lights, that would have looked awesome. And I still think that looks cool.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is once we get older, because like most RuneScape players, at least most of like our fan base, falls between like 25 and 35. And I feel like once you get to that point, you start having a little bit more like professionally minded things.
Yeah.
Like that's why my background, if you go back and look at like the early episodes, my background is like very much like this is an early 20s guy who's like Twitch streaming. And now it's busy, but it doesn't look so overwhelmingly nerdy. Because if I take the energy sword off the wall behind me, you can't really tell from far away what most of the stuff is. And I think that just suits the like older, more professional look. And I think gaming chairs really clash with that. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't want one like aesthetically either, is like, you know, at some point I might have to like be on a call with someone and I don't want my like RGB mega gamer chair to like distract them from what I'm talking about. So, but
yeah, I agree. Especially if it's like a room that's meant to be like an office, it looks really weird if it has a gaming chair in it.
Yeah, and it's, again, that's just personal preference, right? I'm not like, if you have a gaming chair, it's not like a bad thing, of course, but
yeah, if that's what you like, go for it. But I highly recommend trying out a nice office chair at least for a bit.
I think the time for an upgrade might be due for me. I'm 2 years deep into this one. And it was like a memory foam chair, and memory foam plus a cat is really not. It's not a great combo, but
yeah, my chair is like a mesh chair, which some people don't like, but I very much enjoy.
I'd have to give a good mesh chair a try, but I also unfortunately injured myself this weekend, and it was misery. I think there was a doctor at the event who was like maybe probably but she wasn't working. She was just like one of the kids' moms. God bless this woman. Shout out to you, doc, for helping me out. I don't want to say your last name because I don't want to dox you doing this, but like I really appreciate you. And like initially I thought I was fine. Like she came back and did a follow-up after I hurt myself, and she was like, oh, it's not swollen, you're looking good. And then later I felt like a bump, and she's like, ooh, yeah, it might be torn. So I was doing a warm-up, right? This is the most frustrating part about the whole thing. I have been looking forward to this tournament because I said it last week.
Yeah.
Like, it's the largest local tournament in the state of Michigan. I am so excited for it. During the fucking warm-up bout, I just stood up. I challenged a guy, from Chicago or whatever. Just a quick, like, 1st to 5, easy. On, like, one of the last touches, I was retreating, going for an attack. Like, I was trying to, like, get a counterattack off. And I took a step back, and it felt like someone dropped, like, a cannonball or a dumbbell on my ankle. And I thought someone backed up and stepped on me. And I literally fell and turned and said, who the backed up onto the strip? Oh my God. And I was just like sitting there and like,
bro,
like writhing and swearing, because it was like a blinding pain for a few minutes. And like I don't tend to over exaggerate pain very often. I would open my eyes and close them for I don't know how long. And every time I opened them, different people were looking over me for about a good minute or two. Like, I was very like, holy shit, this is incredibly painful. I think my Achilles tendon just sort of like popped while fencing. And I think it tore a little bit. And it really, honestly, it felt like someone, like, my ankle was being like, you know how you like can put your leg back and you're kind of like flexing your ankle and your Achilles? While I was doing that, I felt like someone truly like dropped something really heavy or like stomped on it. Like, it really, really hurt. Like, eventually the pain subsided enough where I could be more like personable about it, and like tell jokes. and not be like asking people what the do you mean when they're trying to ask me questions, you know?
Yeah.
It's I calm down a little bit, but I had to scratch from Saber and Epee. I got an entire 2 minutes of fencing in before I injured myself, and I am currently waiting on the orthopedic doctor to call me back to schedule an appointment. As long as it's not career ending, I should be back to fencing at some point. So I'm kind of right now, you know how when you play zombies in the early waves where the zombies kind of like hobble around, that's kind of how I'm moving around my apartment at the moment. It's a lot of fun because putting direct pressure on my ankle is absolute misery, but you know, we're surviving, we're thriving.
I hope you have a speedy recovery with that. That fucking sucks.
You too. I hope the back feels better. Because it's definitely not the most enjoyable thing I've ever had to go through. Yeah. And I just want to fence, man. I'm gonna be so bored this week. I told my teammates that like you might see me at practice on Thursday because I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. Like I'm gonna be. I love this game. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do sitting home and playing it. You know, people have been DMing me, like asking me how the tournament's going or how the tournament went. And I've had to be like, I hurt myself. And they're like, oh, it's RuneScape time, baby. I'm like, yeah, haha. But also like, what is it, B? Sorry, my cat just like
cat visit
started. Yeah, she just started getting very loud. Are you okay?
Yeah, like 5 minutes before I hopped in here, my roommate's cat Nana was sitting outside my door just meowing because she desperately just wants to go outside, and she is not an outside cat. She is small, short, and stubby, and declawed by her previous owners. So not a good fit for an outside cat.
Bee's giving me the stink eye right now. She's also not fit for an outdoor cat. Not because she's declawed, because she's a pampered, spoiled bitch, and I don't think she'd know what to do outside. It'd be very much like Lady and the Tramp kind of thing.
Yeah.
She'd be outside and be like, ah. Like, I don't think she'd make it.
That's kind of what Nana does when she goes out there. She just gets overwhelmed, but like, oh, I'm outside now. What do I do?
Oh, God. Recording Booth Chat wants me to show B. B does not like to be on top. He does not like to sit on top of me. Just like to be on my computer desk either because it's very narrow. And they're like, oh, pick her up. I can't get up and bend over because I'm pretty much operating off of one leg right now. You know, I can't do that. And B's very annoyed with that. She likes being held, but only while I'm standing. So she's very annoyed with that. So the weekend definitely didn't shake out how I wanted it to, but that's okay. We're here because a lot of awesome stuff has happened this weekend for the game that we're here to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Lots of awesome stuff. Did you watch the Summer Summit?
I did. Not live, unfortunately, because I was working while it was happening. I was getting DM'd from Bird's brother, actually. While it was happening, he was giving me updates on what was going on. But I watched it, the VOD, last night, and I read through all the blogs this morning. So I've gotten caught up.
I had the same problem. I didn't watch it live. I didn't watch the VOD. I watched the sailing Q&A for an hour, and then I watched all the little initial reveal trailers, but not the whole summit.
I haven't watched the sailing Q&A, so
it pretty much covers everything. With basically the devs doubling down on guys, it's not a mini game, and it makes sense. Their logic for it's not a mini game, I really do agree with, because I don't think sailing is a mini game.
Yeah.
It's got they bring up a really good point that utility skills as a whole are really hard to differentiate from mini games, because like the mini game where you have to kill like a certain number of enemies, and then after you kill that certain number of enemies, you get reward points to spend in the reward shop for that mini game.
Yeah, it's everyone's favorite minigame.
Yeah, it's everyone's favorite mini game. Yeah, it's the Slayer
Yeah.
skill. Like all utility skills are a little mini gamey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except for maybe thieving. That's because thieving's fucking boring.
So
Not that agility is not boring, but like you pretty much train agility by doing little mini games.
yeah,
Right? Like little rooftops.
yeah. I mean, I'm just clicking on the same couple of squares over and over again. Sepulcher, the most popular training method for people that want to put a little more effort into it, is basically just a mini game. But people don't call agility a mini game. I don't think sailing is either. I think it's
Mod Kieran in the video brought up a really good point that like way back in like 2005, the people had a pushback of like, why do we need a Slayer skill? We can already kill monsters.
Yeah.
Like we don't need this. Like Jagex was a little bit more kind of like closed off for what they do for updates.
Yeah.
But there still is a like, do we need this skill, right? Kind of sentiment. And look at how Slayer has affected old school now. So hopefully sailing does something similar. I voted yes for it in the mega poll.
Yeah, I just voted this morning.
Yep.
Like 20 minutes before we started recording.
I voted. I just blanket yes to everything because it all seems super cool.
I voted yes to everything too.
So that's sailing covered, baby. I'm hoping sailing gets locked in because I'm excited for it. But
yeah, nothing really new that they've showed in this blog that isn't in any of the other ones. And if people want to hear about those, I'm sure you guys have episodes on them. I know.
I'm sure you do as well. I'm sure you guys have talked about sailing once or twice. Yeah, I was gonna say, you and Bird seem pretty opinionated when it comes to new skills. So I would imagine you've talked about it once or twice. But there's a lot of other cool new stuff that's coming out. So what do you kind of want to touch on first? I don't know in what order they released things in, but
I think we should go in order. I think we should go in the order that it's going to be coming out from the roadmap reveal. So that would be the Chambers of Xeric changes next. Path of Gloffery and more. So they have like a bunch of smaller changes kind of all thrown into this one blog. They've been like talking about changing Chambers of Xeric for what feels like years now. Because people have been complaining about, raid scaling and having to scout and other small things for a while. So they want to do that, but there's also some other things that they talked about. I never did this quest back in 07 because I was on my way out then. I was quitting by the time this was coming out. But they want the Path of Gloffery to return. Did you?
Yeah, I didn't play this quest either. Okay. And I'm curious how this is going to play out after Monkey Madness 2. Because like if we look, what was Monkey Madness 2? 2016? I think so. Monkey Madness 2, of course, it doesn't show me the prereqs in my completed quest log, but is the Eyes of Gloffery a prereq for that quest?
Yes, it is. It's a sequel to the Eyes of Gloffery.
No, for Monkey Madness 2. The Eyes of Gloffery is a prequel to Monkey Madness 2.
Maybe?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up on the wiki. It's Enlightened Journey, Eyes of Gloffery, RFD for the Gegi bit, Troll Stronghold, and Watchtower. Monkey Madness 2 really doesn't have a whole lot of requirements.
No.
Quest-wise. 69 Slayer is the miserable part of that grind, for sure. But I'm curious what they're going to do to follow that quest up. Like, I don't know it. I don't know the Eyes of Gloffery enough to be like, oh yeah, it's its own standalone thing. Because it seems like the gnomes are pretty well sorted after MM2. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'll know I love a good quest.
I don't know
but
what the story of this quest would be.
mm-hmm.
Looking at the RS3 wiki, I see more of those weird puzzles with the hand in the dispenser.
All right, never mind. I should have voted no.
Yeah,
should have voted no. Damn it!
I hate that puzzle. So I don't. Gloffery's involved in this quest, so they're gonna have to wildly diverge from the RS3 version.
So I think Gluffery is like the ancestor of Gluff. I think. So like the tiny little bitch from Monkey Madness 2 who turns into the big old bitch at the end.
They're different people. I see.
Yeah, it's like ancestors because like Gluffery is the one that did all the stuff and like killed that old tree. That
it's been forever since I've done these quests. So
I'm just a whore for old school lore.
Okay.
Brimstall because like gnomes live for a long time, I guess. So I don't know where Gluffery is or what Gluffery's doing. So it might be interesting to see what differences we get for dialogue options if you have completed Monkey Madness 2 or not,
Yeah.
Might be interesting to see.
Yeah, they have the requirements on the blog for this quest. You need Isaac Gloffery, Waterfall Quest, and Tree Gnome Village. And it'll reward us with a couple new Slayer monsters with some nice rewards from them too.
Yeah, oh my god, the reward from the Slayer monsters is gonna be cracked.
Yeah,
it is the solution to the shitty Iron Man magic. Like this whole thing seems like this whole quest is like an Iron Man in mind kind of thing, and more often than not, I'm like, ugh, come on. But like, there's got to be something. Yeah,
because like when Bird and I were first doing TOA, his best weapon was the Ivan staff because he didn't have the Slayer requirement to go do Kraken yet, and that's a really high Slayer requirement to go from Ivan's blast to a Trident. So
yeah, it's ridiculous. And like in theory, like back then, ancients are so much more powerful, but on an iron, ancients are so expensive. Whether you're buying packs from shops or putting the time in to craft them or get them from drops, like ancients cost a lot.
Yeah, they really do.
It doesn't matter to me on a main, but also I use powered staves on a main, so it's really hard. And the only staff at the moment, powered staff, that the two that don't require Slayer levels, I'm pretty sure, are Thammaron's Scepter and the Sang staff and the Shadow. But I mean, I feel like you're probably much more likely to get. Honestly, you're probably likely to get a Shadow first.
Yeah.
Like if you get really lucky, it's not impossible that you could get a Shadow before you get anything else. That's weird. So I'm excited for this. The Warped Scepter will be good. Maybe it'll give me motivational log back into the iron and do PVM because I'm pretty sure I've got all the requirements on the iron. I've definitely got them on the main, but like
yeah, they're not very high requirements. 60 is like the highest requirement, and that's for strength. So
yeah, I've definitely got that. And then 20k Slayer XP. Can't say no to that, baby. Can't say no to that.
Oh yeah,
but
it's pretty nice.
I love a good new quest. I think it'll be fun. That's one thing they do consistently well all the time.
It's my favorite part about the game.
I don't know if it's my favorite part, but it's definitely up there because like there's a few like standout bad quests, rat catchers, one small favor, various bits of like, but like there's only like Morning's End Part 2.
It's all the old quests that are bad.
But even then, like that's like a few bad apples kind of deal. And it really doesn't take away from the quality, especially like you're right. Recently, since 2016, I don't think they've released a bad quest.
No. Okay, correction. There's been one bad quest. Garden of Death. I absolutely despise that quest.
Really?
Yeah, it's So in my opinion, it is the same puzzle, just slightly tweaked 6 times in a row, and then you finish the quest. And I don't know. I thought it was neat doing it blind. The first time I saw the puzzle, the second time I was like, okay, cool. They're changing, or they're making it a little harder. And then it was just the same puzzle again and again and again until you completed the quest. And I was like, okay, I'm over this. Maybe with a quest guide it's a little bit easier, but doing it blind, it just took forever.
With Quest Helper, it was nuts. I did it blind on my main, and it took me like a good hour and a half.
Yeah.
It took me 7 minutes with Quest Helper on my GIM. It was so nice. So nice.
Yeah, Quest Helper, it would be I wouldn't care about it. It would be like, all right, done. But without Quest Helper trying to solve those puzzles, it's just not a good time.
It's real nice.
If they broke it up with like
Helper.
a combat sequence or some other type of puzzle, I'd be less spiteful against that quest. But
like I get the point, you know, like it's supposed to be a very mysterious, like we don't know who we're talking to, what we're dealing with. Like narratively speaking, I really like it, but it does take quite a long time if you don't know, like if you're going into it blind. So
yeah,
I'll give you that one. Maybe not the best they've released, but overall, like compared to Morning's End Part 2, I definitely don't hate it. You know?
Yeah, compared to some of the other quests in the catalog, it's not the worst by far.
And I think a lot of the bad quests that we see are normally just the tedious ones. Like One Small Favor is very tedious. Rat Catchers is very tedious and frustrating. You know, Morning's End Part 2, it does add, it's like tedious and annoying. It's not difficult, but like running out of stamina is hell in that puzzle. Running out of prayer and getting beaten to death and like having to like redo all that is miserable, right?
Falling into the
you
chasm.
Run out of agility potions for that damn like rock climb thing you have to do.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing like can be put in the bin if you just like forget to set the crystal properly.
Yep.
Like,
I failed that handhold thing like 12 times in a row. I was absolutely mauling by the end of it.
Oh yeah, no, I brought way too many supplies when I did it on the GIM, and I cut through probably a good third or half of them trying to do that puzzle because it's
such brutal. A long run back too, just to add insult to injury.
Yeah, so I'm confident Isaac Lufree hopefully won't be like that.
Yeah.
Though, boy, do I hate that puzzle.
Yeah.
I hate.
Yeah, it's
that puzzle in Eyes of Glufree. So hopefully Path is.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done that puzzle, but I remember not having a good time with it. I think I just like brute forced it or something when I did it on my main.
Yeah, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. Brain too small. Brain doesn't make sense of it. I don't get it.
I'm bad at puzzles.
Same. I'm not a big puzzle guy, especially unsolved.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, that's that quest. They went on to talk about some mid-level PVM stuff. They want to try to like insert something that's in between doing like the free-to-play bosses and doing fight caves, so that people can get a little more accustomed to doing bossing before they move on to trying to get their first fire cave or trying to do, you know, maybe raids in the future. So they want to add a new boss, and they didn't really give too much details on what the boss would be like. Just
this segment, I voted yes for it because yay, new bossing content, but also I'm curious what bridges are left to gap in the low to mid level, right? Because you've got like at the lowest possible level, you've got Obor and Bryophyta, who mechanically there's stuff you have to do, right? Like Obor has two different attack styles. Obor's got a stun and a knockback. Bryophyta's got poison. Bryophyta has minions that you have to kill with a certain way that keep her from being damaged. Like they're not utterly simple, like
Yeah.
stand there and attack a Varrock guard boss.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do we think the next level up from that is? Sarachnis or Barrows?
Yeah, I mean, Sarachnis is not super mechanically engaging. It's just prey range when she's not next to you, prey melee when she is. Um, I mean, they say like, oh, it teaches prayer swapping and movement. The movement's pretty minimal. The prayer swapping is pretty easy.
I think this is one of those, like, we come from the perspective of
That's
biased, experienced players. Like, I am max combat with a scythe. Like, Sarachnis is like a 40-second kill time for me. It's really a joke. When I was a mid-game player, like a truly mid-game player, bringing like Guthix D-Hide and, an Abyssal Whip, maybe, a Cudgel, like, it was a very difficult fight. Not because Sarachnis hits you very hard, because those damn minions abuse you throughout it, and you can't really pray against all of them at the exact same time. Like it's really, it was hard. Like I was getting, like, if I got a 2-kill Sarachnis trip way back in the day, I was celebrating for it because I was going through so many sharks and so much prayer. I felt like, because the kills were taking forever.
Yeah,
and that's the problem with Sarachnis. The longer Sarachnis takes, the more it is hurtful to your supplies, right?
Yeah, and a mid-game player is not going to have the gear or the stats to be able to kill Sarachnis quickly.
Yeah, Fear Garden in the recording booth chat just sent a single smiley face emote, because when you kill Sarachnis in a group of 8 people with gear ranging from a Sarachnis cudgel to multiple scythes, the boss goes down by the first rotation. Like, if you get Sarachnis to move, it's a time. I don't know about a good time, but it's a time. I've done a lot of Sarachnis in my day. Let's just say that.
I mean,
but when I did it at the super newbie level, right, I found it to be relatively difficult. Like, I remember being in Twitch streams and like watching people like play whatever, and trying to type and taking as long to type a sentence as it would be to like mess it or to kill Sarachnis. Because like, I could type while doing Barrows, I can type while doing Wintertodt, surely I can do it while doing Sarachnis. And I could not. I was getting beat down. So I'm torn because I don't know what bridges are left to gap. I think Sarachnis and Barrows are great starter bosses when you get into the members realms. If you can, Obor and Bryophyta are like free to play, so like the earliest of early game players kill those. But like, I think
I think something that like teaches players actual movement, because like the thing when I am teaching TOA, I see a lot of people die in P2 Wardens because they're not used to having to move away from a boss or avoid different attacks. They're used to just kind of running at the boss and hitting them, or I mean, that's basically it. Yeah, Bryophyta, Obor, you just run at the boss and hit them, or you run away from the boss and hit them. And then Sarachnis, you just run at her. You're never trying to not be next to the boss, basically.
Yeah.
So
I think proper movement, like a boss that teaches L's without teaching L's, like the L-shaped movement in the game, that might be helpful, because most players now, with the release of Desert Treasure 2 and the Whisperer, they might see it a little bit sooner, but I didn't know about L movement until Sodaseg.
Yeah.
So like
it
took kind of a while.
It was definitely something getting used to when I first started learning TOA, was like using movement in a way that's not just, I click spot, I go to spot, because like knowing that your character skips a gap, knowing how L movement works, that's something that the game doesn't really teach you until you're thrown into the fires with a rating.
Yeah, and do you think it's weird because like the way your character moves, like when you're walking, you're stepping on every tile, but when you're running, you skip a tile every time. Do you think that's something the game would ever tell you, or is that too overwhelming for a new player? Because like that doesn't make sense in most other games. Like in most other games, I don't know about MMOs, but I feel like you don't skip. You're not.
Yeah.
it's really hard to conceptualize you are not where you are.
I have a friend that I talk to about RuneScape because he's not a RuneScape player, but he's like a gamer and a programmer. And so he gets a kick out of me telling him like, "Oh yeah, the game doesn't process where your character is every tile. Your character skips over every other tile when you're running."
Mm-hmm.
And like trying to explain these things to a player that doesn't come from a RuneScape background really kind of shows just how weird and obtuse some of the mechanics in this game can be. And I think having a way to somehow teach new players that would be beneficial, but I don't know how you'd go about that in a way that's like diegetic and not just, hey, your character skips every other tile. Let's go back to, the game world now.
Mm-hmm. I think what you have something here that I do want to get to in a second, but I think what could be cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the boss like spat out spikes in like a checkerboard pattern.
Oh, yeah.
But you had to run away. And then that would almost, without really saying it, be like, hey, this is what true tile is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to run every so often.
It would have to be in stripes rather than a checkerboard, because new players would just run diagonal instead.
Yeah, I think stripes would be good. And then, like, almost like an Olm flame wall that you can run over.
Yeah, yeah.
So like every like couple of seconds, like 1, 2, 3, 4, that whole line gets like blown up by fire.
Yeah, and if your character gets hit,
that happens.
He'll be like, "Oh, I need to get a running start or something."
Yeah, like that could be. Yeah, maybe running that could be good to explain to players.
Yeah. It'd still be a little obtuse. They might not be able to figure it out right away, but I think that's a way to sort of diegetically explain that mechanic.
I mean, it's good to like have this kind of tutorial and like have players experience it, right? I watch a lot of Josh Strife Hayes and a lot of Worst MMO Ever, and I often see a lot of like text dump tutorials that just aren't helpful, So teaching the player by being able to do it, like, hey, this is the movement that you need to like get over these things and teach them what a true tile is, without saying it is good. But I think it might eventually lead to people being like, why does that make... Like, why can I run over that object? Like, why am I allowed to do that? That shouldn't make sense. And then someone else will be like, it's true tile. That's just how it works. It's the Runelight plugin. Look at it,
Yeah, or and like then people will be, confused why they can't true tile over Olm Flame Wall or something.
Well, I mean... Yeah.
Because, like, some things you can true tile over, other things you can't, and it's not clear why or when. You just kind of had to know.
Well, I think Olm's flame wall is coded like a wall. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then Fear brings up Zebek waves. Yeah. I don't know how to true tile through Zebek waves. I don't know how to do it.
You have to, for Zebek waves, you have to move one tile away from the wall or from the wave, and then you move running through it. I don't know why you need to get the walking start, but you need to walk one away, then two through, and I don't...
Well, because objects, when they move in the game, and this is another thing that could be interesting to teach players, right? Maybe it's not a fire. Maybe it's like a spike that rolls down, like a 1x1, like almost like a bandsaw that rolls down this track, and you have to true tile through it, because objects also have true tiles when they move. So... I think you have to take that step away from the wave so you can pass through the true tiles of the wave and the player never connect. I don't know how you would explain that, but I think movement is a pretty good thing that could be taught, and you seem to have some sort of solution for that. I don't know if you've talked about this on your show or not, but...
We kind of workshopped this idea in one of our episodes where I was talking about this boss, but I haven't talked about, like, my... more thought out design that I have here.
Well, if you would like, you're more than welcome to give us an explanation. I'll chuck this little thing on screen if you want.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think I've gotten all the typos out that I originally had, but probably not. So yeah, I had an idea for a crawling hand boss, because there's not a lot of like low level Slayer related bosses you can do. So I had this idea. You don't have to be on a Slayer task to kill it, but you would need at least 5 Slayer and access to the Mauritania Slayer Tower. And it's a boss that would attack with like telegraphed AoEs to kind of make the player have to move around and not just stand in one spot. So it'd kind of teach like I reference the Nightmare Surge attack and Vorkath's Dragonfire bombs, so that like players, when they get to the point where they're doing those bosses, will kind of know what they're looking for. And I kind of roughly have some idea for loot, a new ring and a new glove, so that there's something before getting your Barrow's gloves and something before getting the Dagonoth rings. But that's just kind of spitballing ideas. I'm not a game dev, so.
Yeah. I think the idea of a glove, they're cool ideas because you're right, they come from hands. So that would make sense.
Yeah.
Does it have a pet? Would there be a little crawling hand
I would
pet?
love a crawling hand pet. A little.
It'd be so cool.
What's the thing from the Addams Family? The Thing? Is that what it's called? Or just Thing?
I don't know.
A little crawling hand that falls around the. You know what I'm talking about?
I do not, but that seems, yeah.
I think it's called Thing. Yeah, the Thing. It's one of their relatives is just a crawling hand. Or just Thing. Yeah, I would love to have a crawling hand pet. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah, I think this seems like a very cool, like it's almost like there's like a hand like smashes down. I'm thinking of like the master hand and the crazy hand from Smash Bros.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking with the smash attack and the like it would like kind of charge up its punch, kind of like the master hand does before it flies across the screen. And I'm sure we could integrate some way of doing like the wave skipping mechanic in this boss. Like maybe it smashes in the middle of the room and makes a bunch of tiles unsafe, and then you get to path back over.
Yeah, or maybe it's like the hand kind of goes in like a karate chop. But this boss looks a little bit bigger than a 1x1. So
yeah, the boss would probably be a 2x2, if not a 3x3.
Yeah, it'd be cool though.
Yeah,
I really like the idea of movement being the thing that has to be taught, because we've got prayer switching with Sarachnis, we've got supply management with Barrows, because your prayer runs out, pretty quickly. You kind of have to use food, you kind of have to use prayer. Medium combat diaries does alleviate that a little bit, but to get the mediums done, you have to do a little bit of stuff. So, yeah. What other I think other bosses, like Sarachnis also has a healing mechanic where if you don't pray correctly, she heals.
Yeah. And I think that's just a way to tell the player, hey, you messed up, you're off prayer.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of at the core what bosses do that players can do better. Like, don't get me wrong, comparing Sarachnis to the Inferno is not at all accurate, but knowing when you have to switch prayers is important.
Yeah.
It's just a lot slower and a lot less punishing at Sarachnis.
Yeah, I think the goal of a new low to mid-level boss shouldn't be to severely punish you if you mess up. It should be teaching you, hey, you messed up, in a slightly less punishing than just insta-dying.
Maybe it isn't insta-death, but death reclaim is free.
Yeah, I think that would be fine for a boss like this.
Yeah, maybe put it... I don't know, maybe put it in a Slayer training thing. Like the Slayer Masters have this training arena. I don't know how you would make that work, because if it's got an insta-kill mechanic, it seems kind of harsh for hardcores. Not that we care about the concerns of Iron Men here, but, it does seem kind of brutal to
maybe
have a lag spike.
Instead of killing you, it just picks you up and throws you out of the arena.
Maybe that could be a thing. That could be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a cool concept. Movement being the play.
Yeah.
But finally, in this blog, to transition back to
Hmm.
what we were originally talking about, Sparre is great as a co-host because he matches the tangential nature of XP
That's
Waste
what we
very
do,
well.
baby.
Um, Getting back to the matter at hand, do you do a lot of chambers?
I don't. I would like to do more, but I definitely am aware of the issues Chambers has.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've done maybe 25 chambers. Let's see. I don't even know where my KC is on this. I've done 26, one more than I thought. Um, yeah, so I've done a little bit. I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they're not really talking about making any improvements to the actual raid itself,
mhm.
but like the logistics surrounding the raid.
Yeah, I've done a lot of scouting. I've scouted basically every single one of the raids that I've done, and it's not a good time just running in and out of the raid over and over again. So having some
No.
way to just pick your raid layout, I think, is a good thing. And also the scaling. When we were doing our raids, most of it was scaled in some way. There was one guy that brought like 20 alts into one of our raids. That was intense. But being able to pick your scale and your layout, I think, would alleviate a lot of problems people have with the raid.
Yeah. They kind of describe like a token system almost, like maybe the tokens like are obtainable through raiding and then are almost like awakener orbs.
Yeah.
Like obtainable and also tradable. Like that really would increase the loot potential of chambers a lot, you know? There's
Yeah.
like a 1 in 50 chance from like a regular Cox to get a layout token or whatever.
Yeah.
And then would they even drop from CMs? Who knows?
I think part of the problem with making it a resource is that you then had to go through the chore of scouting or manually scaling just to get the ease of not having to do that. And I'm sure
I
players
mean,
will complain.
so I feel like they have to find some sort of middle ground, right? Like if they mentioned in the blog that like they don't want to take away what makes chambers unique because
Hmm.
it really does make the raid unique, and that like not every layout is a good layout, right? There are some really really bad layouts for especially learners, right? But I still feel like scouting is part of the process. Like you have to learn and scout what is good and what is not good for learners because I feel
Hmm.
like this might be Boomer Oxy talking. I feel like you don't really learn anything. Like if you just, it really takes something away from chambers. You don't learn what to avoid. You don't learn what to bring. Obviously, you learn what to bring specific gear for, but you don't learn what to look for a good raid.
Yeah.
And then you don't have anything to aspire for. Like I don't tend to do a lot of Vasa or Vespula because I don't have a T-bow, and Vespula sucks without a
Hmm.
T-bow. Vasa sucks, period. But
Voss
like
is not
with a
fun.
T-bow makes it a lot better.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe having some way to like speed up the scouting process at least then.
Yeah, I think what could be good is these tokens. Maybe they drop at a higher drop rate. Who
Yeah, I
knows? Or
think
maybe
1
they
in
come
50 would
alongside
be.
every. Maybe they come alongside like every purple. It allows
Mm.
you to set a preference for a room.
Hmm.
Do you have the Chambers of Zarek like plugin
I
at
have
all? Do
like
you have any of the
5
plugins?
plugins.
So there's one of them where you can like type in rooms that you like and rooms that you don't
Mm-hmm.
like, and it kind of shows in the initial scout of like whether it's a green, white, or red, like thing indicator.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe something like that gets taken into account. That like you know when you do this initial, like when you put this token in, and like let's say you really like tightrope,
Mm-hmm.
either because it's really easy or you're trying to learn how to rope skip or whatever it is, you use one of these tokens, and then tightrope can take up like a preferred layout slot. So you're more likely to see raids with tightrope in them.
Yeah, that might
And vice
be.
versa. If you hate Ice Demon, maybe there's a way for Ice Demon to show up less, you know?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to do it, because there's like definitely rooms that people just avoid for pretty obvious reasons. They're not fun,
Yeah,
or
and
they're slow, or drain your
yeah,
supplies or whatever.
it lends itself really well to a lot of different play styles too,
Mm-hmm.
because like I think you ever heard of the VTV Crope?
No, is that a layout?
It's a speedrun layout. I think VTV Crope is Vasa Tecton Vespula or Vespula Tecton Vasa, one of the three.
Mm-hmm.
Crab's Tightrope.
Okay.
Because those rooms can all be done super quick, and if you no prep the VTV Crope, that's like a world record layout.
Yeah, and they all give you
especially if
supplies.
you get the good rooms.
They all give you supplies too to
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's so good, because you can no prep it with overloads and go right in and just call it good. You can, in theory, if you get enough of these tokens, you can put those 5 or 6 rooms in your like preferred layout. Not to guarantee you get a VTV Crope every single time, but if you want to,
likely.
it's more likely, yeah. And I think maybe giving it like an increased chance is better.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have an X% increased chance to get this room in a layout, so that you do still have to do a little bit of scouting.
But it won't be as bad, because I've had to scout for like half an hour straight with like 4 of us, and that's not a good time.
But now, and I don't think it would be particularly bad to do on your main either, because I think the issue with that is a lot of people have scouting alts.
Mm-hmm.
The richest of the rich players, should these tokens be tradable, which I think they should be, because again, it adds more monetary value to the raid. Not that Chambers is a completely worthless raid. Obviously, it's got one of the most expensive items in the game as a drop. I personally don't ever see any of this shit, but you know that's neither here nor there.
Purples don't exist.
They don't. But I think making them tradable is good, because then the richest of the rich players can fund all their alts for that, and then on your main, like now there's a bank in Chambers now.
Yeah.
Like you get a good scout, you can just like gear for whatever you need immediately. You don't have to like take everything in, or take only the supplies for the raid that you want, and then have to keep resetting. Like if you get a good scout and you're like, I'm happy with this, you can adjust your inventory as needed, you know? I think they've made enough QOL changes where if you could only invest the money into getting these like scouting selection tokens or whatever into one account, it's not nearly as bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I'd be fine with that change. I think that'd be good for the raid, while still kind of keeping what you're saying, the boomer mentality that scouting is kind of integral to the raid. I mean, I'm a zoomer, so my first raiding experience really was Toa. I did a little bit of Cox way back when, but I didn't really sink my teeth into it until I started doing Toa. And scouting to me isn't the most enjoyable experience, but I can see why having the random layouts kind of adds to the raid.
Yeah, I don't think it's, and I'm not saying like people should be miserable. I just think, I don't know, I'm very used to scouting, so it just seems very very different. Otis in the recording booth asks, is scouting the same as looking out for PKers? No, you're running in and out of Chambers to find a good layout. So to keep it brief, Chambers has like 20 something rooms that can randomly generate, kind of like, from what I understand, dungeoneering is a little bit, you know, where the rooms randomly appear in a random order. So you'll get 5 of the 20 rooms in a random order every single time, or 7, or whatever, how big you want it to be. Rooms don't often repeat unless you choose a large raid option, in which case they can. And then at the very end, you fight Olm. You do like prep. There's like farming, and then you get supplies while you're farming. You make a bunch of potions, and you fight Olm, regardless of what the room layout is. TOA is kind of like the in-between to that, if you've done any TOA at all, where there are 4 potential routes you could take, depending on what boss you want to start with, and then you could just sort of like do the order from there.
Mhm.
Though the meta is Monkey, Kefri, Akka, Croc,
Yeah.
Warden. Which might change a little bit depending on if you have like level up invocations active. I don't know.
Mhm.
But you know, Tob is very. It's the same 6 rooms in the exact same order every single time. So
Yeah.
that's what Chambers scouting is for the folks that may not have ever done raids of any kind.
Yeah, I kind of take for granted sometimes the knowledge that I already have when we talk about stuff like this. Like, some players that have never done Chambers of Xeric might not know what scouting is.
And there's a lot more of them now that TOA is out, because TOA is the learner raid
Mhm.
at this point. It used to be Chambers, because Chambers is so much easier than Tob
Yeah.
to learn. Like now it's TOA. You just run people on 0s or 50s.
Mhm.
I usually run people on 50s because I can't do anything. I can't do slow Akka, and I can't do Wardens without
Yeah.
Overclock 2. I can't do
Yeah.
it. Won't do it.
I'm a bastard. I make them do fast wardens, not insanity, but overclock 2 and fast Akka.
Yeah, I don't do like mind the gap or upset stomach, because
No.
like for me, mind the gap is more of a humorous invocation.
Yeah.
I just like having people ask like, "Hey, is mind the gap on?" I'm like, I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
You know.
I also usually will run with the Croc stuff on besides upset stomach, just because you almost always have that on once you've actually learned the raid.
Croc is so boring without
Yeah.
the other stuff on. I did it with Michael for Xpwaste North.
Mhm.
We ran a like a 150 like shitter GIM raid. I don't even know if it was a 150. I think it may have been like a 50. I don't even know. It wasn't a very intense raid at all.
Yeah, Croc is not mechanically interesting without anything on.
Oh my god, it was so boring.
To be fair, Croc's not
like
mechanically interesting even with stuff on, but it's a nice break in the rest of the raid.
It's once it enrages at like level 4, it's interesting with the
Yeah.
with the 2-tick alternating. That's kind of scary.
Yeah,
but
machine gun Croc.
yeah, it's really that it gets really spooky then. Like I don't remember being so tense than when I first accidentally got a level 4 in a solo raid.
Yeah.
That was horrifying. I wiped towards the I barely made it. I think I wiped with like maybe 2% left with Zebek.
Oh man.
And of course I turned hardcore on because I didn't have a good like setup for expert modes, but now I'm like mad chilling in my expert modes. I put Walk the Path and Insanity on, and then just 200 levels worth of like shitter invocations. It's great.
Yeah, it's the way to go.
Softcore run, 40-minute timer, no mind the gap, no boulder dash. We're chilling.
Boulder Dash is the one invocation that I still absolutely despise.
I really don't like. I can do it.
Yeah, I can do it.
But if I don't have to, I won't. Like if I don't have to turn boulder dash or God, what's it called? What's the one with extra minions at Kefri?
Medic or
no, not the other one. Not
more
medic.
overloads.
More overloads like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Upset stomach. If I don't have to turn that stuff on, I will. You know.
Yeah.
Stay vigilant. I'm usually pretty happy to turn stay vigilant on, especially if I'm with someone who can butterfly with a shadow. But like stay vigilant doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah.
I don't ever turn keep back or double trouble on though.
No, I have accidentally turned double trouble on once, and I'm like, never again.
In a solo, it's not horrible, but it's just inconvenient because every single special attack
Slows down the room.
It slows it down so much.
Yeah.
Like it's miserable.
I don't like double trouble because it slows things down, and I don't like more overlords because it also slows down Kefri. Kefri goes from like a super quick room to pretty long because you're having to deal with the melee healing from the first minion spawn. And
yeah,
in our raids,
unless you're in a huge scale, it's really hard to out DPS the 2 healers.
Well, even when we do like our large raids, usually in the first set, it's kind of a meme, but I'm pretty good at like killing all the swarms that spawn so that Kefri ends up at like 1 HP or 100 or so by the time the phase ends. so that we just go to the second phase right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if you have Overlords on, that's basically impossible because the melee minion's healing from the start, and it's so slow. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to speed through that
Yeah,
room.
it sucks. But yeah, most of the chambers changes seem fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
I'm
opposed
not a
to any
big
of it.
yeah, I'm not a chambers. I'm not like obsessed with chambers, but I feel like the people who are obsessed with chambers have been asking for some adjustment to scaling and scouting for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they're not changing anything within the raid. It's truly just like the logistics of setting a raid up, and I think that's actually pretty good for people who do this content all the time.
Yeah. You were talking about not catering to Iron Men earlier. Catering to even a smaller group, UIMs. I saw someone saying that they didn't want this because they didn't want their bag taken up by another item just to do raids.
I mean, that's why I don't think you should have to take the token with you.
Yeah, it should.
I think there should be like a token exchange person.
Yeah, or like a coin slot or something on the side of the raid.
Yeah, I think there should be. I think these items, like, hear me out, right? It's a 1 in 200 chance in a regular chest to get one of these tokens, or it's guaranteed alongside a purple, right? Because we all know purples are a 1 in 50,000 drop chance at chambers, right? When you get one of these, you can give it to like the token merchant outside of chambers, and then you get like an interface of like, would you like to add a room to your preferred or your not preferred list, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe with a certain number of these tokens you can make, like, I don't know how they're going to do scaling, but like mainly with scaling it could be like, I don't know, would you like the option to have a 1+1 or a 1+3 raid scale with just one person, and that's like a toggleable thing once you get a certain number of tokens. Like, I feel like it almost has to be like you have to do chambers or spend a shitload of money in order to get these unlocks that make the raid better.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what RuneScape is. The more you do the content, the easier that content gets because you get items to do that content better. That applies for pretty much everything but Phantom Muspa, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
and Whisperer and Duke.
yeah, I was gonna say to a lesser extent the new bosses too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the axe good at Duke? I don't remember if
I had a teammate who was using the axe at Duke. I don't know if he did that. That man, shout out to Ben for doing hundreds of Duke over the course of bingo. But I'm still unfortunately not getting the Magus Vistage that we need.
sad.
Shout out to the Liquor, man. That was such a
They made
good team.
the Visages a drop in your bingo. That's
So they had secret tiles that were meant to be like mega hard.
okay.
And I've got a photo of I think there were nine rows of like secret of like mega hard tiles. And they were, let's see, they were get an ACB or a Next Unique, get an Elidness Ward, get an Arcane Prayer Scroll, get a Magus Vistage, get a Smoke Battle Staff, get a Tob Weapon or Nightmare Unique, get a Zalcana Unique, complete a Wilderness Ward, or get an Elite Clue from Adamant Dragons, because Mistalin was by far the worst region ever.
Those are definitely some tiles.
I mean, a lot of like I think we got the Ward and the Smoke Battle Staff done. They were fun to do. It's just like the odds are kind of stacked against your favor.
Yeah,
you know,
you'll have to kill thousands of some of those bosses to get the drop.
Yeah, I think I didn't think any of them were too miserable to do. You just got to get lucky.
Yeah.
And we did not get lucky at Tob, unfortunately. We sent quite a few, and we saw we were kind of annoyed. We saw a scythe into an Avernic one night on the back-to-back. Had we seen the Avernic into the Scythe, we would have completed the extra tile right then and there.
Oh man.
But the 3-man Scythe split was very nice. And side note, I think once I'm done recording, I might hit the lab with some of my friends and see if we can't get a Tebow rebuild going.
Hey yo.
Because I think it might be time. I think it might be time to get the Tebow rebuild going. Because I've got about 2.1 bill sitting in the bank.
Oh yeah, you can afford that.
And if I hang on to my Scythe, which is this is the big problem, is I don't want to get rid of my Scythe. If I got rid of my Scythe, I could do a Tebow rebuild right now on the show. But I don't want to get rid of it because I like Tob too much.
Yeah.
So bin the Scythe, or keep the Scythe, keep the Zenites. I think I can comfortably throw away a lot of other stuff in my bank. Because the Tebow's what, 1.4 right now?
It's up there right now for sure.
Twisted Bow. It's about one. It's just under 1.4. So I would have to get rid of a lot, but I'm still holding on to 700 mil worth of gear. So it's a Scythe plus 200 mil of stuff laying around, which is probably going to be a lot of supplies. Food, potions, skilling stuff, and then like I have like a mil worth of Christmas crackers.
Wait, why?
From collecting them from holiday events.
Okay.
I think I have like 4 or 5 years worth of like Christmas crackers and party hats in my bank. Because like I get them for free and I keep them. And I think they're fun little mementos of like how many events I've done to complete them and get them all, which I think is cool.
That's
and I'm
fair.
like, just like stupid stuff like that. But I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't be able to get rid of and survive with. Like I can rock Black D'hide if I really need to with a Tebow.
Now you can
'cause
afford
we did-
the Guthix D'hide, surely.
I think I actually have Guthix D'hide in my bank. I might. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. But Tebow opens up a lot of content that I could do to make a lot of that money back. And if I hold on to a Scythe, I'll do Tob and shitter gear. I'll get made fun of for my Dragon Boots G. I don't care. I'll do it. I'm crazy, Sparry. I'll
McDonald's
do it.
drip,
I
hell
swear to
yeah,
God.
dude.
Yeah, dude. Fighter torso, obsidian legs, Fedora probably, because I'm gonna have to sell most of my like PK tab. Just get it all out of there. But
Yeah, I mean, I'd send it. There's with a Tebow, making money is not a problem. You can do plenty of high-end content still, and as long as you don't sell, literally everything, which doesn't sound like you need to. So,
I don't need to. I would keep if I had to get rid of everything minus the Scythe, I would try to hold on to a Serp Helm and Serp Helm and a Ring of Suffering. And I would just do Zulrah, I'd do Chambers, I would do Sarah, maybe make a little bit of money there if I get lucky. Tebow's good lots of places. So
Yeah.
Tebow rebuild soon, TM. SOS in the recording booth chat says Tebow over Shadow. Yes, Tebow over Shadow because I don't particularly enjoy doing a shit ton of TOA.
yeah. And plus,
So I prefer...
you need all the mage strength you can get with Shadow, and not having like Ancestral and stuff kind of would not be the best. If
I got a Shadow, I would bin the Scythe and keep my Ancestral.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to get rid of the Scythe, which is another reason I don't want the Shadow, because I want the Shadow, but I think the Shadow will have to be my third upgrade, my third mega weapon. But yeah, Tebow I can do a lot. I can bring Tebow to Nex. Not that I want to do a whole lot of mass Nex, but I could. Tebow good.
Tebow is good.
So rebuild incoming for a Twisted Bow. But
hell yeah.
speaking of Twisted Bows, Chambers of Zarek changes good, more or less.
I think we can move on from that. I think there's too
Yeah.
much left to say there.
We've already covered sailing, right?
Yeah.
We both voted yes for the lock-in. Hopefully that passes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the next is like Forestry Part 2, Way of the Forester. Cool.
Yeah,
You guys covered that in one of your episodes.
I saw a lot of negative feedback on that, and I'm just like, it was a poll to ask if we wanted cosmetics. I don't know why people are upset that this passed.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I think people are just mad because like now wood cutting is too intense, or now there's like weird metas for training wood cutting. Shut up.
Yeah.
Just
It's
like the meta for training wood cutting before was boring, and but the thing is, you can still do the boring method.
yeah, you can still do the old method.
Yeah, which is one thing that I think. I understand why people struggle with this concept because like they want the best rates all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But just because something new comes out that is more intense, that doesn't mean that the old method is no longer not possible. Arty Rooftops is boring as hell, but gives consistent XP. Sepulcher gives far better XP.
Yeah.
But Sepulcher is way more focused of an activity.
And I think
right?
two-tick
You can
cheeks is still better than woodcutting.
Yeah, I think so.
Or,
So I mean, it's not the best in the game, right? I don't know. I think he's
Yeah.
Otis in the recording booth chat in all caps says, "Just take the kit off." Yeah, it's
true.
that easy.
Or go to the woodcutting guild. You can still do redwoods.
It's truly that easy. Then we get to the big one, baby. I'm so excited, man. Leagues is coming back.
I have to admit something.
So excited.
I've never done a leagues.
Oh my god!
I did
so excited.
A little bit of Shattered Relics, but every time a league has come out, I've been so burnt from this game. So I'm kind of excited. I'm not burnt right now. I think I'm actually gonna play this league and have a good time with it.
So I think, let's pull it up here. I don't know when it says leagues is going to start. I would imagine it starts somewhere in the fall because it looks like the roadmap has the Christmas event after leagues, which would be so nice. Like, give me a nice 6-week league. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start with this. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about this. For those of you who remember Shattered Relics, right? And we're listening to XP Waste back during that time. I'm going to be talking about leagues a lot because I love leagues. It's so much fun. And leagues has actually helped me unburn from the game quite a bit. Because for those of you who do remember, I was very preoccupied at the end of 2021 trying to do a particular piece of content that I wasn't very good at. And then just took a 4-month break. And then when I came back to that piece of content, I was still dog shit at it. And also refused to do that content in leagues because I'm a prideful bastard and wore a fire cape the entire time. But,
Yeah, so they're bringing back Shattered Relics with a couple of changes. It seems like it's not going to be too much different from the last time. But we're getting Karend added, as well as, whatever content has come out since the last time they did Shattered Relics. They have a big list that I'm not going to read everything out, but, TOA, we have Phantom Muspa and all the new bosses from Desert Treasure 2 and a bunch of other cool stuff. So I'm excited.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. All the theory crafting that we're going to get to do for this league. What they didn't say is how many regions you're going to get to unlock. So in Trailblazer way back in the day, you got Lumbridge unlocked off the rip, you got Mistalin, and then when you completed the league's tutorial, you got enough league points to unlock the next region, which was automatically Karamja, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Everyone gets their Fire Cape. Everyone gets their Infernal Cape. Nobody has to choose whether or not that region is worth it. You get Slayer Masters. All the content on Karamja is just given to you for free. And I think that's good. That's fair. Karamja isn't game-breaking. It offers 1 or 2 best-in-slot items that are attainable for everybody, and then it offers a lot of very good secondary supplies. It offers gems for bracelets. It offers Karam wands. It offers Tazar, which are a good source of like armor and things like that in the earlier part of leagues, and they have the boosted drop rates. You got dragons for visages and things like that. So there's a lot of potential, which is good.
Oh yeah.
And then last time you got 3 regions, but now with the addition of Zaya and with the addition of so much new like high content, are we going to get more than 3? I think it'd be cool if it was restricted to 3, but I don't know.
If it is restricted to 3, Bird hit me with the just unlock the 3 raids. And I think if I were to do it, that's what I'm doing, because that's very funny to
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Because your best melee, you'd have best in slot mage and range, easy. But then your melee gear would be like Justy armor.
It would be obsidian legs, an obsidian helmet, and probably an obsidian body, if we're being honest.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's the best strength bonus you can find. You wouldn't get climbing boots because you wouldn't have access to Asgarnia. You wouldn't have dragon boots because you wouldn't have access to Asgarnia. You wouldn't have prims because you, and this is going to come as a shock to you, wouldn't have access to Asgarnia.
Yeah.
You would get rune boots from Necreals, from either the Slayer Tower or from Zaya. That would be it. It'd be obsidian. It'd be rune. It would be an amulet of fury. It would be I don't know if they'll do like the highest like RFD that you can do.
Yeah.
Like the highest level of art, because I know like I got to like adamant gloves, I think, with what I could unlock in the original Trailblazer. So you could be rocking the regen bracelet like we were way back in the day.
Hell yeah.
You'd have access to your infernal cape, and then Scythe of the Tour.
An absolute
there would be an offhand. You wouldn't get a defender, so
that's true.
You would like. Oh my God, your best offhand would be a Draconic Visage.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a DFS to have your best offhand in the game for strength bonus.
How do you make a DFS? Can you...
If you need like 80 smithing and you have to just attach the Draconic Visage to an anti-dragon
Okay, so you
shield,
would be able to do that.
Yeah, because they'll give you, I think they gave you a Draman staff. Last time they gave you the anti-dragon shield, but you just have to start Dragon Slayer.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what they do for like league points. They didn't use Renown this time around, which I'm interested in. Like that's cool. But are we going to be able to unlock like shitty quests that we don't want to do? Oh, I've got so many questions. The 3 raid regions, I was thinking about that might be the most fun way to go about it, because last time the meta was Kandarin, Mauritania, Asgarnia, and you got enough cool stuff to spread out pretty well. I don't think I want to do that again.
I want to do the 3 raids. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, God, it'd be so cool. I'm so excited. But you wouldn't be able to fortify your Missouri.
No, you'd have unfortified Missouri, which fortifying it just makes it tankier, right? You still have the range bonus?
I think so.
Okay.
Let me see. Osrs, Missouri.
I'm too poor to afford Missouri. Missouri is way out of my price range.
Same. So let's see. Missouri Body versus Missouri Body F, right? Missouri Body has a +4 range strength. Missouri Body F has +4 range strength and +1 prayer. So it is significantly tankier.
Yeah. But who cares?
It's like twice as tanky defensively for most of it. And also Missouri Body F looks so much cooler.
It does. That's true.
With the shoulder spikes, it looks so much cooler.
Yeah, I'm fine with looking like a goober.
Man.
I'll have the 3 power weapons.
I was gonna say I'm gonna be an obsidian gear with a scythe. That doesn't looking like a goober is part of the fun of
now.
leagues.
What order do you do the raids in?
I think so. You would probably want to unlock desert first, because you can. It's tough. It's really hard which one you want to do first. I think you'd want to go with desert, because since that melee is going to be your weakest of the 3, unless you get a relic that makes it very powerful.
Yeah, you need to get a fang.
Oh, well, no. You need to get a fang, but also what do you do about mage, specifically for Akka, right?
Fire Surge.
It might be Fire Surge, but how do you get Wrath runes?
Oh, true. I don't think there's a boss in area that would give you those.
It'd have to be Fire Wave, right? Because you can't get Wrath runes from Guardians of the Rift, which would be unlockable through Misthalin. So runes are going to be cool. It's real hard because you'd be a really range heavy build until you got a whip at 85 Slayer. and then get a Fang, and you might even be able to do a whip skip. Because last time they did Trailblazer, they had the 2-tick attack speed.
Mm-hmm.
So a Fang would be a 3-tick weapon.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, how do you balance mage? Because if you get an MSB, you can get that most places, right? MSB for range, go burr. Rune crossbow, go burr, right? If you want to get a dragon crossbow, I'm sorry you hate yourself, but you can do that too, because Fossil Island's part of Misthalin. Melee, you have an Abyssal Whip in Misthalin, and then magic probably would have to be Fire Wave or Fire Blast or something if you can upkeep the runes.
A Slayer
Desert
staff, maybe?
would unlock
I don't know.
Desert would unlock Ancients.
That's true. Would that be better than just fire waving? I don't know.
If you have the runes for it, Ice Barrage I think is better than Fire Wave.
Okay.
But the runes are very expensive.
Yeah.
Get a Fang, get some range armor, get a rune crossbow, then you unlock Zaya. You do that until you get some good mage armor, still rocking your shitty obsidian Fang, whip, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you unlock Mauritania. And then,
yeah, I think Mauritania has to be the last one.
Well, does it? Because Barrows provides some decent stuff.
It does, but I think you just rock the obsidian anyways and not care. I guess the Arams would be nice, but you could probably get Mystic somewhere. Or if you have the desert, you can get Infinity.
Yeah, where would you get Mystics? You can get Mystics from Hydra.
Yeah, you can get...
If you unlock Zek, unironically, you can get Mystic from Hydra,
Yeah. Slayer Tower? Maybe?
Yeah. Let's see. It's got a +1. So, funny enough, the Inquisitor's set, the Inquisitor's plate skirt, has a higher strength bonus than Obsidian plate legs.
That's true. And
so
neither is tanky, so...
Neither is very tanky.
Yeah, I think Obsidian...
Yeah, it's because Inquisitor has the same as Bandos.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Okay. Hell yeah.
Dude, the 3 regions, might be real good.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. That'd be so fun.
Yeah. Oh my god, but there's so much theory crafting, other fun stuff you can do. I'm so damn excited for Leagues.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
This is gonna put a roadblock on my goal to max by my birthday, though.
Depending on when it comes out. So if I was a betting man, this is going to come out late October and is going to stretch into right before or right after Christmas.
Yeah.
If I were a betting man. Because that's how Leagues has been run in the past. Shattered Relics was a little bit of a fluke because of group goddamn Iron Man throwing the whole thing off. But...
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. We're so excited.
Yeah, and you're
so excited.
You're asking earlier about like unlocking quests. They have like, I don't know if this is just a mock-up or what the actual menu is going to look like, but the Trailblazer 4 menu, and it has info, tasks, areas, and relics. So it doesn't look like you can unlock quests like you could in Shattered Relics.
So back in the day, when Trailblazer came out, you could unlock regions and it would give you certain quests completed.
Oh, okay.
So like once you unlocked Kandarin,
it would
it auto completed up to Monkey Madness 2.
Okay.
Because what people would do is they would unlock Kandarin, take their 60k, and go right to the Monkey Island, Ape Atoll, and they buy their dragon scimitars. Because you didn't have to do a quest, you didn't need Gree. You just go right there and then get access. You could like immediately start farming Zenites and stuff like that. I imagine it's going to be very much the same for some of these quests. Like I imagine if you unlock Desert up to Beneath Cursed Sands, maybe even Desert Treasure 2 would be unlocked.
Desert Treasure 2 is a weird quest in that it has desert in the name, but doesn't really take place in the desert usually. So.
But neither does Desert Treasure 1.
Yeah.
but when you unlocked it, you still got access to ancients.
Okay.
So I think maybe that's the play, right?
Mhm.
And that fills out your ring slot, right? You would use the ring of, not the ring of,
Ring of
what's
Shadows.
the upgraded visit? Ring of Shadows. The ring of Shadows would be
It's not a bad
your
ring.
best in slot ring, yeah, because you wouldn't have a suff ring.
Well,
you
could
wouldn't
get
have any of
Lightbearer.
the DK rings. You could get Lightbearer, but like your best combat ring.
Yeah.
So Lightbearer and Ring of Shadows. But what bosses could you even do? Because because Lasar is technically an Asgarnia.
KQ.
You'd be able to do Vardorvis.
You're talking about
because you unlocked Zaya.
Yeah.
You couldn't do the Duke. You could do Leviathan and you could do Vardorvis.
Okay. I mean,
because Leviathan is in Misthalin.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd want to really do them though, because you can't get the ring upgrades.
Virtus,
true, but you could instead just do more Chambers of Zarek and get the Ancestral instead.
I mean, with a 16, what's the drop rate go up to? Like 4 times?
I'm not sure. You're talking to the wrong guy.
If you have the potential to roll Virtus at like a 1 in 100 drop rate,
okay, maybe it wouldn't be that bad.
Every weapon is like a 2 or 3 tick range weapon. You could absolutely eviscerate Leviathan.
Yeah.
You know?
What would you?
I don't know.
Would you be using an RCB against Leviathan?
Depends on the relics.
Yeah. Well,
like
I guess you could get an MSB as well.
Yeah, there were. Well, like the Abyssal Whip was like the best weapon we had back in the original Trailblazer, and it wasn't like the whip we know in the main game. This thing was an absolute machine.
Yeah.
It was 2 ticks. It hit super hard because the melee relics made us all hit really fast and really hard. So like, oh man, I'm so happy. I knew they were gonna announce leagues. I had a gut feeling. I thought they were gonna announce a different quest. I didn't think they were gonna go the Varlamore route, but. I'm so glad it's leagues, dude.
I predicted Varlamore on one of our recent episodes. And I was pretty close with my guess. I was like, oh, it's going to be like 6 or 7 months out. Because they had the leak of the map area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was hoping for more vampire stuff myself.
That's fair.
I'm not disappointed with Varlamore, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Otis
asked, how would we grade the Summer Summit overall? Seems pretty legit. I didn't watch it, but I don't think it...
I thought it was pretty good. I hang around some very pessimistic people, Birdfax among them, but you know he gave pretty good reviews of it. But the Snowflake Iron Man community I'm a part of, Petscape, which I talk about pretty frequently, a lot of them have given this Summer Summit a pretty big thumbs down. But I don't know. I think it's all going to be pretty cool. Like, I'm excited for all of it.
I agree. It all seems like a lot of fun. The one thing I will say is it doesn't feel as hype as the Winter Summit. Mm-hmm. But I think that's because the Winter Summit announced what at the time was going to be a new skill and a new prayer book.
Yeah. New skill.
So I think the Winter Summit just
new prayer
hit
book,
harder.
And they also announced Forestry, which at the time was very exciting. Before we knew a lot of details about it.
Yeah, I think Summer Summit has bigger long-term effects on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the addition of Varlamore will be a much better longer-term addition.
Yeah.
Than any of whatever, and then it also we decide whether or not we get the new skill that was talked about 6 or 7 months ago.
Yeah. Do we get into talking about Varlamore now? Is this a good...
I could talk about leagues forever and just fangirl over it. You guys should go to the blog, read about it, and then look at the rewards.
Oh, yeah. I do want to comment a little bit on that, actually. I'm a little scared about Venge spell animation transmogs and other things that could have PvP implications, because if someone venges me and I have no idea what that spell they're casting is, I'm going to be a little mad if I die to Avenge.
I think it would have. I think you have to do the same hand motion of Avenge. How you kind of put your hands up and go down with it. Maybe the skull is what's going to change.
I think the skull needs to stay, or at least it needs to be skull-like.
Yeah, something that is
identifiable,
very apparent.
Yeah.
But I didn't consider that one because I don't ever use Venge in PvP. But that said, some of these are going to be so cool.
Yeah.
There's a death and a respawn animation. That's going to be sick.
That's the Infernal Bulwark is so cool looking. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Dude, I have seen it. That's awesome. The Zuck shield.
Oh, it's so good.
That's great.
Like, even if I don't do the League, I probably will, but either way, I am buying that cosmetic override.
Yeah. Oh god, it looks so awesome.
I don't know what the toxic blowpipe transmog will be, but I'm sure they'll do something cool with that too.
Do we? Because like other weapon designs that we have, right? Other transmogs for things are related to that League's colors, like Trailblazer Graceful, and then the Shattered Relics Whip, Shattered Relics Cannon, and the Void. Do we think the blowpipe will look like Trailblazer Reloaded colors, or do we think it'll look like another Zulrah phase? Either way, though, from this initial banner, Trailblazer Reloaded seems to have a rather magma phase color scheme.
Yeah, I think
so.
It wouldn't be too unexpected than if it was a red, like, mutagen color.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the shape changes too. I'm very excited. The league's gonna be so much fun. But you guys will hear me fangirl about the League unless it really sucks for several months to come. So we'll spare you guys that a little now.
Yeah.
And get into Varlamore. Arguably the biggest.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah. Now this I'm not as well versed in because I didn't actually get a chance to read this blog, but I did watch the video and I looked over the map and oh man.
Yeah.
This is gonna be good.
So yeah, Varlamore is a new area underneath Zaya. It's another country that exists in the lore. Originally designed by Gentle Tractor, and he's helped the JMods work on this. Which, honestly, I'm surprised he's not mod Gentle Tractor at this point, with how much it seems like he's been working with the JMods. But, yeah, it's this huge area. It's really big, like almost the size of, like, 2 or 3 of the areas of Zaya. And they have a whole bunch of stuff. The first thing they talk about is like the capital city, which is
Civitas Illa Fortis.
Yeah, that. Which I don't know what people are gonna call that. Probably Fortis, maybe.
Civi.
Maybe city. I don't know. But there's 2 new quests that are dropping with Varlamore if it does pass, which I can't imagine it won't. Okay, so the first quest is going to be a way to travel to Varlamore, and the second will be a story about the city, Fortis there. I don't know if you're gonna need to do the Kingdom Divided quest to access this. They don't really make that super clear. I imagine not.
Is it mega elitist of me to say I think they should?
I don't think it's elitist, no. I have a warped perspective because I hang out with a lot of snowflakes, and some of them would be a little mad about not being able to access the area because of the quest requirements, but I don't think it'd be a bad idea to make it require Kingdom Divided.
Because I feel like with AKD, it finally like shows who Varlamore is. I feel like it's a very good like narrative way to introduce Varlamore, because like this is gonna be mega spoilers for Kingdom Divided if you haven't done it in the last like 2 years. The end of the damn quest shows the king getting assassinated with a Varlamore dagger.
Yeah.
So I feel like it leads so perfectly into like, hey, here's the new king, and me as like the Queen Mother advisor, I need you to go like investigate this. Or somebody outside of the royal family now placed in Kourend is like, we need to go see about this dagger, right?
It would certainly remove a lot of the shock in sort of the oomph of the end of the quest if, he gets assassinated and it's just like, oh, I've already been to Varlamore and have seen everything going on
Yeah.
there. Because, like, that's
Yeah.
that's where we, like, really, like, oh my god, this other country.
Yeah, it seems like it's like a Game of Thrones
Mm-hmm.
like murder mystery you get to go on that leads you to Varlamore, and like just picture it. The end of the quest, they're like, all right, so something fishy is going on in Zaya, which, like, what else is new, right? But since you were so good, like, you should come back when we finish making renovations, right? Because, like, we had to use some crazy magic to get you here, but we are renovating the area for people to start coming into Varlamore. We want you to be one of the first, and then it sets up the release of Varlamore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my
Yeah,
god, that's.
the
I think it's got to be a Kingdom Divided as a prereq. I think it has to.
yeah, the most narratively satisfying way would be to require that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But because, like, you can technically get to Wintertop without any sort of, like, quest,
mm-hmm.
right? You just need a games necklace. You can just travel right there.
You can take the boat there. You don't even have to have done whatever the quest with Veos.
Don't you do Client of Karen to get there?
You can talk to him
start
and
Client
go
of
there,
Karen?
but you don't actually have to do the quest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I learned that when I made an account that I very quickly dropped. I had a snowflake briefly.
Oh, I'm sorry to
I
hear
know.
that. You fell victim to the snowflake. Snowflake.
I've had
Iron
2
Man.
snowflakes, and I haven't played either of them in years. Yeah, no, I definitely think having it tied to the quest would be the most narratively satisfying way to introduce us to the area.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand why they might not want to do that. But the requirements for Kingdom Divided aren't that bad.
No, they're really not. It's a master level quest, but, like, you've got it here. It's like 50. It's like
Base 60s.
the highest is 54 agility.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a hard quest to do, you know?
Yeah. The bosses are the hardest part of that, and they're not even that hard.
No, they're really not. Like, they might take a while. I did it on, like, my mid-game Iron Man, and it took longer than I wanted it to, but not a hard thing at all.
Yeah.
I think it should be. Call me an elitist. I don't care. I think it should be a requirement to get into Varlamore, because you're right. Narrative satisfaction, I think, is far more important for a release like this than, like, everyone can go on the first day. Especially if, like, dog, we're like 8 months out from the release.
Yeah.
Get the damn quest done between now and the time the pre-Varlamore quest comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have plenty of time to prepare for that.
Yeah.
But, speaking of elitism, the Fortis Coliseum, where hopefully the HLC will be pretty satisfied with this release. If you're familiar with the concept of the Blue Inferno, this is that. It is a wave-based. I hate to call it a mini game because I don't feel like Inferno and Jad are mini games, but technically they are.
They are and they aren't. Yeah.
But it's going to be that, except at the end of, I don't know if it's at the end of each wave or a set of waves, you'll be offered an out, and you can leave and take your loot, or you can double down, potentially lose all your loot, but do harder waves. And they talked about kind of like an invocation system where there's different modifiers that you can turn on that will make it more difficult, but you'll get more loot at the end of it.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. They've got that system for RS3, I think.
Yeah, I think they call it Enrage or something.
Yeah, I think it was a No Monkey video I watched, where they talk about 4,000% telos and how, like, Blood Torva was achieved within, like, 10 hours. 4,000% telos, or max enraged telos, took like 14 months to do. And we just haven't had that in OSRS. So I think, like, oh, these modifiers, it's got potential, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I it doesn't sound like it'll be like a thing you can just infinitely do, but if they make it so that like the end of it is sufficiently difficult that it's not completed for at least a week or two, then I think people will be really satisfied with the difficulty of this.
Yeah, more aspirational content that you can do over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope the as long as the early waves aren't like super tedious, you know,
Yeah.
like because it like at what point do you complete it? You know, that's the question. I don't know.
Yeah. And they don't talk about like rewards exactly. They say that they'll pull those at a later date. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm excited to see what they come up with this. I'm I'm curious what kind of reward space they can offer with this, because we already have best in slot mage, range, and melee, and the power weapons to go with them. Um, and I feel like offering a niche weapon for what is supposed to be some of the hardest content in the game might not be the most satisfying thing for some players.
Um, maybe it's like a kit thing. You know,
Hmm.
maybe you get upgrade kit. Maybe it's like a twisted bow kit. That could be cool. Maybe it's. I think like we talked about last week. I think having more enemy types in game is very helpful for adding new content to OSRS. So maybe they introduce a new enemy type and like this new weapon that comes from the Coliseum is the best weapon to use there. Maybe maybe it's just got absolutely busted loot. Like maybe it's like some of the best money in the game if
Yeah,
you're really really good. You
I think
know,
it should be.
like if you complete it, it's like a 25 mil completion. That's more than a Hydra task, but takes way more effort. Like, could you imagine if every time you completed the Inferno, you got 15 mil? Like,
Sheesh.
that
Yeah,
seems. I don't want to say it seems fair, but like, it's not like everyone can get there. You
yeah.
know.
And I mean,
So
only a small handful of players can complete the Inferno every single try without breaking a sweat. Like, there's not many.
small handful of legitimate players. Yeah.
True. Okay. Yeah. I saw a clip yesterday of someone streaming with the DDR plugin that drops the little uh, symbols onto the prayer to tell you when to prayer flick.
Yikes.
Yeah. Even with that though, he died and it was pretty funny.
Funny. Guitar Hero mode. Good lord.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There's obviously got to be some sort of room for something, but like I imagine anything like, hey, it's a better Infernal Cape wouldn't pass.
No,
So I don't know where you go with
because that
like.
invalidates Inferno.
Well, it's also power creep,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like how do we go up and not sideways without pissing everybody off? You know, because we've got the three best sets now. We've got Ancestral, we've got Missouri, we've got Torva. What's next? Maybe new jewelry.
Yeah.
Maybe a new ammo
Well,
slot, like a melee ammo slot that's better than Rada's Blessing.
Bird and I were talking about jewelry with sailing because they want to introduce a bunch of new gems.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, I mean, I'm sure there's design space there, but we were struggling to come up with like good ideas to fill up the jewelry slots. We basically came up with suffering, but for all the other jewelry. So like, a rechargeable bracelet of slaughter and a rechargeable whatever the herblore one is called, the amulet of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Ralph has
I
a
think
good
again,
idea, a better mage and range cape, perhaps, so we can have something that's better than well, I don't think they could
yeah,
do a
Mage
range
Arena,
cape, but something that's better than the uh, Mage Arena 2 cape might be a good idea.
because that's what, like a 2% damage
Yeah,
increase.
2%.
I think we could comfortably, if you make it hard enough, you could comfortably get up to 5.
Yeah,
Because everyone's first thought is like, what about the shadow? If you get it hard enough, I think it works. Like, people are saying occult, though. Occult's like what, a 10%
Nerf occult.
boost? I don't know. I don't think nerf occult. I think make this hard enough that this 5% cape boost is good, because if you bring a shadow with you, and this new mage cape is ridiculous. Could you imagine 15%, an extra 15% magic?
That'd be nuts.
Which is a +7. Like, if you got max mage with a shadow, that's an extra 7.58% damage that you're doing, plus more if you go to TOA with it.
Yeah.
So, like, they're saying extra magic damage is hard because occult exists. I don't think... I agree that occult does make it difficult with the 10% magic damage. However, I think occult... the issue is it's tradable. I was going to say, gated behind 93 Slayer is tough.
Yeah.
But also tradable and available in excess. And then...
if you look at it just from Iron Man, it makes sense. Like, oh, it's a very high Slayer requirement. I mean, okay, it doesn't make sense, but it's a little more understandable. But...
yeah.
As a main, you can just buy it for what, like 200k? I don't know what a cult costs nowadays. It's been a while. Okay, 480k. That's still not much.
Well, is there a magic level requirement to wear it? 70. You need 70 magic for an occult.
It's nothing.
Maybe that's the difference. Maybe take the occult and make it like an 80 magic upgrade. Who knows? I don't know. But people are saying anything more than 2% adds more max hits, and until we get like a rigor or piety equivalent for magic, we're kind of capped in that regard. The Infernal Cape adds max hits. I know we have piety, but the Infernal Cape adds max hits, and I don't think, because the Infernal Cape is very hard to get, I think it's justified.
Yeah.
You know, I think if this content is hard enough, as like hard as they are saying it's going to be, we're like, if you have a Fire Cape, you'll be fine, but once you get to the higher levels, it's going to be rough, you know? I think maybe it is possible that we get a 5% magic damage cape, because
I think
now with
even a 3% or a 4% would be fine. I don't think it needs to be like super crazy.
Yeah, I just think whatever magic damage we factor in, we have to also consider the shadow, and I think that's the hard part. Is like any bit of magic damage, anything, the shadow has to be a part of, because even if there's a magic damage increasing prayer, the shadow just now became ultimately more powerful. So because of that weapon, magic damage is going to be hard. So for putting it in the game, it has to be appropriate, you know?
Yeah, TOA is kind of the problem child with its power weapons. The shadow and the fang, you kind of had to design a lot of content around.
But at least the shadow is... like, not everyone has a shadow.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone has
a
fang. You shouldn't have to design shit around the fang. The shadow, you should... I think the shadow makes it so you can design things around it, right? Like, just like the T-bow. Do we want this boss to be a T-bow boss? Mm-hmm. No. Low mage level, right?
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I think there is some space they could probably create some best in slots, but they're kind of limited because of the 3 raids rewards and not wanting to make those not relevant.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential for them to add something super cool with it. I think we could speculate day and night what it could be, but I don't know.
We'll just have to see what they come up with. It's a while out. They've got time to think and figure something out.
Yeah. Maybe it's an untradeable damage reduction inventory slot. That makes it so like you take X% less damage.
If it's just in your inventory?
I mean, that's what the Ellie does, right?
Oh, okay. You meant something that's equipable. I see.
Yeah, an equipable. The problem is, like, you trade the Ellie for a defender. Mm-hmm. You don't really trade an ammo slot for anything. Like, +2 prayer bonus. Oh, no. Yeah. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So, I don't know. Maybe something. We've got room to figure it out. And I'm excited for that. So, What else we got here? Cruising
The
through.
Perilous Moons. It's a experience level quest that adds basically something kind of like the Forthos dungeon mixed with Barrows, I think is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's going to be a dungeon filled with a bunch of demi-bosses that you can kill as like a kind of mid-level thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem with this. I'm curious how it'll be like Barrows. I guess it's just a bunch of bosses in an area, is what they mean by it being like Barrows. Or if there will be like a chest at the end that you loot.
That might be it. Yeah, I don't know
In,
though.
in the video, they talked about like bringing back a feeling of like exploration.
Yeah,
So
because like in Forthos Dungeon, you have to take several steps to fully unlock it.
yeah,
To like go everywhere. You know, there are still bits of the Forthos Dungeon that I don't have unlocked. So I think if in every section that you have to unlock, you get a new boss, a demi boss, a part of that.
mm-hmm.
You know, that could be fun.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that could be a good way to do it. That'd be cool. I mean, maybe this is where they could introduce my crawling hand boss.
But with 5, like, hold on, if it's got AKD as a requirement, is that really fair? Like, if you don't know how to move by the
That's
time
true,
you
that's
get
true.
AKD done, like, you're kind of just you're screwed, or you're a skilling pure. In which case, it really doesn't matter if there's
Yeah,
a monster like that.
yeah. Yeah, the next thing up on the list here is the Hunter Guild. We kind of briefly mentioned its existence at the beginning of the show, but I don't exactly know how this is going to work. There's a huge area on the map that looks like it's for Hunter. So I imagine that's kind of where the Hunter Guild will function. And it sounded kind of like it's going to be... They talk about it being like the farming guild. And I think what they mean by that is you're going to get like hunter contracts. So basically Slayer, but for Hunter. Which I think could be a nice change of pace for the skill. They talk about some new methods as well as revitalizing some old ones.
Yeah, plus, like, it seems like there's multiple hunter locations throughout the region itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it definitely feels like this area has the Hunter Guild in mind when they designed it.
Yeah. God, the vastness of this is still blowing me away of how big this region is.
Yeah.
But in the little Hunter Guild area, there's like, it almost looks like there's various shops. There's a bank. There's a dungeon that you can enter.
Yeah.
Which could have like any number of like instanced things. So I imagine it's not just going to be like Slayer, but for Hunter, right? I imagine maybe it could be something along the lines of like, here, show your prowess as a hunter and catch, 20 spined Larupias. We've got them here in this little zone, right? Go catch them, Or maybe it like rotates on a random basis, like every couple of hours a new hunter species is in there. That could be cool.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't really... I don't know what the lore reason for Slayer is, but I would suspect it's that the monsters would overwhelm if you didn't kill them. I don't know what the logic for Hunter is, because the amount we kill in excess doesn't really answer many lore-wise questions. So maybe that's something they could do. Who knows?
They could be like, hey, help with the overpopulation of Kevits or whatever other Slayer monster or Hunter creatures there are.
Yeah. God, this area looks absolutely insane.
Yeah, General Tractor did such a good job with it. It is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and you can see like around the Hunters Guild too. Like they have the hunter area inside, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 different areas on the outside, like nearby.
Yeah.
So it looks like they had like this big area nearby to have more hunter stuff. So
Yeah, I'm very excited. The idea of a hunter guild has been really cool for a
Hmm.
while. And I think this is a great place to put it because like we don't really have a savanna biome in the game,
No.
you know. And I think like having that, I'm almost thinking of like the Minecraft savanna biome like color palette for RuneScape. That'd be super cool
Hmm.
because it looks very almost like the Kebos woodlands, you know, where it's like very vast and there's you can just go any direction you want. You're not really gated by paths or anything like that. That could be super cool. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. And
yeah, I'm excited. Oh, it looks like there's a new pitfall area. If you look right below where it says Avium Savannah, it looks like that's pitfall trapping.
yeah, yes.
So like all sorts of new monsters. I don't know what's in the colossal worm remains. It says agility. I don't know if it's a training thing.
Yeah, it looks like it's a new agility
God, this
course
is gonna be
probably.
cool.
And then there's a dungeon underneath it. So I don't know if it's gonna be like one big dungeon, like the fourth house where there's multiple entrances, or if these are separate dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be very cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Everything about Varlamore seems very cool.
Yeah. Looks
Like
like there's a new place
it's been so long.
for mining as well. Stonecutter outpost. I don't know if that's gonna be granite or something. Or
I don't know
sandstone.
what's that symbol right above Stonecutter? What is
I
that?
don't know. Is that the sandstone thing that they have in the desert? Maybe. Let me.
Let's look. Let's see.
No, they don't have a symbol on the map for that, so I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't
What if I go to the
I have
legend on
no
the
idea.
side? Can I see?
So tutors, presumably it's a training thing, right? It's not a grindstone, it's not a wood cutting stump. Is it a shop maybe?
Doesn't look like it. I don't see a.
Oh,
Oh,
stonemason. Okay, yeah, it's a stonemason shop.
is a stone. Oh, is that the shop in like
Keldagrim,
Yeah,
yeah, where you buy the construction supplies.
interesting. Okay, so another
That's
place to
neat.
get.
I'm curious what you. So now, what do these people sell that's different from the people in Keldagrim, and how can you use to upgrade your player-owned house or your ships for sailing? Because they
Yeah.
have, like, looking at this map, they really want sailing to
Mm-hmm.
pass.
They.
There are 3 specific ports.
Yeah.
In addition to what could like the all, if you look at like the broader map of Varlamore, there's ports
Yeah.
everywhere. Like they are really
They have that
anticipating
whole
sailing passing.
island that's like kind of nestled underneath the Stranglewood. That's just
Yeah,
all port and canals. Like.
yeah, the like the Venice looking thing they've
Mm-hmm.
got going on there. God, this is gonna be so cool.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this. I definitely think they're designing this with sailing in mind.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree. Yeah, so much potential in this region. Like so much just absurd
Yeah,
potential.
and they talked a lot about
Of
like they
Varlamore.
don't want to make the same mistakes they made with Zaya. They don't want just
Mm-hmm.
a big empty area that's boring with no dungeons to go down into. They're trying to keep that in mind with this design. And I think they're doing a good job with it. There's a lot of cool things going on in Varlamore. There's like a bunch of different shops and stuff, and presumably new training methods.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It's gonna be
yeah.
huge, especially if it comes up beginning of next year too. Like that's gonna go way quicker than we feel like it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like we had the same feeling of like, oh my god, Digital Treasure 2 is so far away. Now DT2 is done.
Yeah.
Like, what's next? Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's realistically not very far away. Like I said, 6 months maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super exciting. I cannot wait for this.
Yeah. Well, I think that covers about everything talked about
Mm-hmm.
in the Summer Summit 2023. These events are so cool. I wish I could have watched it live. I wish I could have
Yeah.
been with you guys to see it, but unfortunately I was wheelchairing around a gymnasium and wasn't able to watch. But, you know, this is going to be so much good content. So
Hell
much.
yeah.
Any final thoughts on the Summer Summit before we go to break, Sparry?
Um No, not really. I mean, I'm looking forward to it all. You know, I think the JMods have been doing a good job with updates recently, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they provide us.
Awesome. I agree. It's going to be good stuff. Yeah, we'll touch more on all of this as the weeks to come. Both XP Waste and I'm sure Guthix Rest will cover all of this content in great detail in the future. But until that time, we will leave you and go to a break. Please enjoy this recycled commercial. Or no, probably a recycled commercial, because I can't go to fencing this week, so I'm gonna be so bored. But probably still not gonna make a commercial because I'm bored and sad because I can't fence. But anyways, see you guys soon.
Bye.
Hello. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Simon Templeton, owner, operator, sole proprietor, and chief executive officer of Simon Templeton's totally legitimate archaeological expeditions. You've actually caught me out here at an interesting time. I'm doing work for the Varrock Museum, and as a matter of fact, you've come by at just the right time. You see that pyramid? At the top rests a smaller, shinier pyramid. It's not a very tough trek up, but you see, that's my problem. Last time I tried to go up there, I really hurt my back on the way down, so I haven't been feeling up to the climb lately. But that's where you come in. You see, I've got a guy. He's willing to pay top dollar for those pyramid tops. So I'll make you a deal. For every pyramid top you get me, I'll toss you 10,000 gold. That's right, that's a 1 with 4 zeros at the end of it. No diminishing returns, just cold, hard cash. So what do you think? We got a deal? Yep, wait, don't answer that. Just meet me here at my base camp outside the pyramid tomorrow morning. If you get lost on your way over, the pyramid is right next to the edge of the world. Literally, there's nothing there. You stare at the void stares back. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Can't wait to do business with you, partner.
Ooh, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial because I know that I sure did. It's time, folks. It's time we crack off the patrons list. We're having a conversation with some of our patrons about leagues and leagues hype in the recording booth chat, and that's just a little bit of taste of what you can get at the Wise Old Man tier, which are on screen right now. Shout out to all the Wise Old Men. I don't believe we have any new Wise Old Men. We do have a new KBD, but we do not have a new Wise Old Man this week. Or men plural, I don't know much about men plural these days, but what can I say? I'm down bad. Anyways, shout out to the Wise Old Man, the Party Pete's, and all the gnome children who support us over on Patreon. And now it's time we shout out the big boys, the King Black Dragon. Is it King Black Dragons plural? It wouldn't be King's Black Dragon,
No.
right? Because that implies multiple kings own one dragon.
Yeah.
It'd be multiple. Okay, yeah. Words are hard. But without further ado, let's just get into it, folks. So, huge shout out to Broick70, Buckeyes, my dad. Hi, Dad. My dad kept offering me a walker yesterday. Like, after my tournament, he's like, you can just drive an hour to your grandma's house and pick up a walker or a cane or whatever. I'm like, I gotta live with you. I want to go home. But it probably would have been a good choice to have a cane, because then I could hobble around my office with a cane.
The cane is
it would
definitely
be really,
a good
really
idea
fun.
to take some of the stress off.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not go back and get it, but he did offer me a cane, so thanks again, Dad. Cloud Kicker, Damon S., Dicky Bird, Elite Oreo Dunker, EXP Enjoyer, Gay Raccoon, Gumby, Legend Gary, Ron Garian, our newest member of I almost said the KGB, the KBD tier, Ron Garian. I really like that name. That's a nice play there. Lil Drakey, Mark, a.k.a. Ice Team, Mike Oxmall, MT Birchfield, Our third favorite supporter, Ralph, Rylithian, SatanBot666, Seth Shep, Skooma92, SOSD3, Spartan Fire, Taco Ninja, the Big G Jordy, the Crayola Cran, Toast No Toast, and Tuz Talk Coots. Thank you all so much for your immense support at the again, I almost did it again. KGB.
You're
At the
thinking about
KBD
those,
tier.
You're thinking about those penguins, man.
Yeah, exactly. I got the penguins on the brain, you guys. But we appreciate every single one of you. The support really does help the show. Like we said, with Xpwaste North, live meetups, things like that. The occasional upgrade to make the podcast better. I don't know what that's going to be or when it's going to be, but honestly, the support it really does mean the world to us. So we thank you guys for helping us to be able to help you guys. If this is something you're interested in doing and signing up for Patreon, not necessarily at the KBD tier, at any of our available tiers, head on over to patreon.com/XPWaste. You'll be able to sign up for as low as $1 a month if that interests you. As always, if not, that's okay. I'm not your mom. I don't make the rules. I'll appreciate you listening to my show no matter what, right? So now that bit has been completed, Sparre, you got a community question for us?
Oh God, I should have thought of one.
No, I meant you have the answers.
Oh, do I have the answers? Oh, where can I find them on?
The answer better be no, because if it's yes, you can access our Anchor account. But no, it is community question time. Michael is not here, so in his stead, I am going to read the community question.
God, you had me in a panic there for a second.
I know. I normally like to panic the guest with the fun question, but I feel like, you're not new to this process. Maybe the community question might throw you off a little bit more.
I was thrown off.
Last week, we asked you guys, what is your favorite S tier weapon, even if it didn't make the list? We do have a couple of responses here. YouTube, there wasn't a pinned comment. I don't know what dumbass didn't put a pinned comment on the video, but because they didn't, we don't have pinned comment responses. Yeah, I'm looking through right now to see if I can find any that would be considered a response. I don't really know if there are. There are a couple. Fairhard says best weapon, rubber chicken. Mm-hmm. That answer is not correct, but we'll allow it. And then Talvin says, haven't watched the whole vid, but why isn't Soul Reaper Axe on there? Gotta level with you. We forgot. I think Soul Reaper we kind of forgot, and then also neither one of us have used it, right? Like, we, to an extent, have used all of the weapons in that list, right? For me, minus the Void Waker, but I do enough content with people who use it where I understand how it works and how cool it is, right? But without being able to use it ourselves, we really don't have an opinion. Sparre 27 minutes ago, or rather not Sparre, the Guthix Rest podcast on YouTube 20 minutes ago says claws are the most fun. 4 hit splats, just hits different. I agree. Claws go burr. They're a lot of fun.
They're so fun.
But that about wraps up for YouTube. So we're gonna head over to Spotify where all the responses are, because that one I remembered to do. So, kicking things off, we have Iron Otis, who says, how is the whip not S tier? It was the best in slot for so long. Maybe not now, obviously, but the nostalgia that comes with it, it should have nudged it into the S tier. Do better. If Michael was here, I'm sure he'd agree with you. Unfortunately, he's not. So,
yeah,
therefore, I have to say,
Yeah, I'll stand by you. Just because it used to be good doesn't mean it's still good.
Yeah, though that said, the whip will always hold a special place in my heart. I do love that weapon. I just don't think it matches with what we currently have anymore to justify it.
It gets some bonus
being any
points
higher than
for
where
being
it is.
accessible, but
Yeah, that too. But accessible how?
It's cheap
To main accounts, yeah. Again,
irons.
Not that we care for the considerations of Iron Man, but 85 Slayer is a long road.
That's true. Yeah, you're rocking a D-Sim up until you get it.
Yep. I wouldn't say I know all about that because I'm not remotely close to that on my iron, but someday I might be. Who knows? Next, Crayola, aka Talonmorn, says the blowpipe will always be my favorite weapon, even if I can't seem to get it on my iron. That sucks. Like just not being able to get it on your iron. Like this is why we don't stand Iron Man mode, because the blowpipe is truly such a cracked weapon, and it's unfortunate you've not been able to get it. But I too am a big blowpipe fan. What do you think? You blowpipe guy, Spar?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as good as it was in its glory days, but blowpipe is still really good. It's fun to use. You're shooting out darts every 2 ticks. Like, what's not to love?
I agree. R.I.P. the old blowpipe, honestly.
I mean, I'm glad it's gone. It created a not good meta.
Yeah, it was problematic, so it was glad it's fixed, but man, R.I.P. Cold B just says Dragon Longsword.
Yeah, where's my D-Long
That's
boys
it.
at?
And frankly, I respect it. You know, Dragon Longsword, shout out here's to you, Cold B. Bloat's Ass says, DDS, man. Nothing more nostalgic than that. Much love. Gotta be honest, I'm also a bit of a DDS fan myself. It's a fun weapon to use, and when it does hit high, it's very satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's, hit the old, now you can hit it 50-50, but the old 25-25, it's nice. I do enjoy the DDS.
It's disgusting.
I know, right? Again, I don't know if I would put it in the S tier, but it's not about me. It's about you guys, right? Favorite S tier weapon.
I'm just, surprised it still holds relevance all this time later.
Yeah, I think it's one of the few older weapons that still really carries its own weight in end game content, right? Not that other weapons can't, but used alongside end game gear, I guess. Nate says, the Dragonheart Lance has always been and will continue to be my favorite melee weapon. Goes burr at Vorkath and will carry me to the pet. I hope it does. Melee Vorkath is one of the most fun bosses in the game. I do enjoy Melee Vorkath quite a bit. When I got my first ever Lance, I got it for like 70-something mil. And I held on to it forever. Because this was back in the days when our buddy Scape was at the duel arena all the time and had more money than he knew what to do with. So he was just giving out mod pay, we called it back in the day. So I did get I originally bought Ancestral Legs for 65 mil. Oh, how I wish I would have held on to those. But no, I got the Dragonheart Lance, and I've been I held on to it for a really long time, and then bought it back after TOA came out because I sold it for stuff. But DHL good.
There's something satisfying about using it at Vorkath. Just
yeah, because you hit a lot. It's got a cool sound, right? You play with sounds on.
Oh yeah. When I boss, I play with sounds on. The rest of the time,
It's got a like a sound when it hits. I really like the Dragonheart Lance sound effect, but
yeah, it's very satisfying.
Very, very cool. Iron Chompers says, love my S tier Voidwaker. And please, Michael, don't say 7,000 Abbey Demons is PVMing. Much lower. He gives a little XD, and then he says, love the content. Well, thank you, Iron Chompers. I want a Voidwaker. If I do this Tebow rebuild, which I'm thinking I will, today, I think today's going to be the day I pull the trigger and do it. I'm going to be really far away from a Voidwaker unless I just make one myself. But even then, with a rebuild in tow, I don't know if I'll be able to fully justify a Voidwaker before a lot of other stuff. But someday I do hope to have one. They look super fun to use.
Yeah, it's pricey too.
But
it's really strong. It's really good.
Yeah, there's 150 mil, aren't
167 right now.
Sheesh, that's a lot. But
it's really good for bossing. It's good for anti-PKing or PKing. Yeah.
Yeah, the bounty hunter tack. But I don't PK, and if I did, I don't know if I have the balls to risk 166 mil.
That's why I only unskull anti-PK, or I do LMS.
Oh, is it in LMS?
I don't think Voidwaker is.
Well, maybe they'll add it and I'll get a chance to use it there.
It would be cool. It might be, actually, if you get the big boy crates.
No. Matty B doesn't answer the community question, but he does say, Oxie, kind of shitty for that shadow dropping segment. Maybe, but, you know. The Rep Dog says, I've never been good enough to try the S tier weapons. Maybe I'll need to pull my finger out and get good.
Pull it out of what?
I advise that, yes. I don't think it's a matter of you having your finger in any orifice, right? Like, a lot of the time, some of the... What do we have for the S tier weapons? It's been so long. But I feel like a lot of the S tier weapons we had are relatively accessible. I don't know if you play on an iron or not, but I feel like a lot of what we did for the S tier was pretty doable.
Yeah, I mean,
Bofa
is, the new hotness for an early game rebuild. You get enough to afford Bofa Crystal. It's a really powerful ranged weapon. You got your Fang, you got your Blowpipe, you're good to go.
Yeah, look at that. Guy's not even on the show and he remembers the tier list better than I
have
do.
it up.
I love him.
On my other monitor.
You have it up? All right, awesome. And then honestly, my advice, if you don't play an Iron Man, have rich friends who will let you borrow stuff if you want. Mm-hmm. That's my advice. Yeah, someday, Rep Dog. Someday you'll wield the S tier. Or you'll be able to find your weapon that you think is your own S tier. Rounding out the community question section for Spotify, we have Mock Cat, who says, RCB. I'll probably have it until I can figure out Zulrah, Zilliana, or I do Song of the Elves and do Gauntlet, which might be a while. Honorable mention to the Drawman staff. I'm a long road from Lumbee Elite Diary. Mock Cat is our resident UIM, for those of you who do not know. So RCB is probably going to be his best in slot for a long time. And I imagine, I got the hard part about Zulrah and Zilliana has got to be the inventory management, not the actual mechanics. Mm-hmm. Zulrah is a difficult boss to learn at first, but when you don't have a lot of space to go around, that's got to suck. So
Zulrah got significantly more enjoyable for me when I stopped worrying about a mage swap and just camped Bofa.
Yeah. RCB might be rough though.
Yeah, for sure.
I've done some range only Zulrah, but
it's slower.
I like my switches. I really like my I think I bring like a 6-way these days to Zulrah. Mm-hmm. I just find it satisfying and fun. But, it's just me. That does wrap up the community question for this week. Thank you guys if you answered it. I'm sorry I've yet to... I constantly forget to put it on YouTube. It's not that I don't care about YouTube. It's that, again, when the episode itself goes live, that's seldom my first priority. Because it either goes out at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm already asleep or 7 o'clock in the morning when I'm just waking up for work. And I guarantee you I will forget about it later in the day. YouTube doesn't allow you to pre-comment things, which I think is dumb, whereas Spotify does. So that's why it's always on Spotify, because a part of, before we are allowed to publish the episode, we go through, various stages. So it's here's your episode uploading, what's the information, name, description, cover art, all that. The next is community engagement, so that's where we put our community question. The next is monetization, so where we put the ads, how you guys always hear the ads right after the commercial, or at least that's when they come up. We manually put those there, and then the very end is a check. Everything looks good to go, awesome. Frustrating part about Spotify, while you can put the community question in, you can't insert monetization until the video has been fully uploaded.
Oh, yeah, it's really annoying.
Which is annoying.
You just have to sit there waiting.
So, yeah, and, when I'm uploading both platforms at the same time, last week's episode was an 8-hour upload with my Wi-Fi, doing both at the same time. That's why I think it was YouTube came out late last week, because it just took way too long, but... This week's community question will be, very unsurprisingly, what was your favorite part of the Summer Summit? What are you most looking forward to, and why? Right? We want to hear about all you guys' thoughts about the Summer Summit, because Michael didn't get a chance to give his thoughts on the Summer Summit yet. He probably will next week. But this gives him another chance to do so during the community question. So hit us with that. This is normally when Michael says, Oxie, it's time for Achievement of the Week. So, obviously, it's kind of hard for me to do that because I'm Oxie and I'm not Michael.
Oxie.
However,
it's time for Achievement of the Week.
it's funny you mentioned that there, Sparry, because while you don't have access to our Spotify, you do have access to Gyazo copy and pasted images. So, would you do me the honor, my friend,
Yes.
of reading the Achievement of the Week for this week in whatever order you would like?
Okay. Let's we'll just go top bottom. Start from
Top to bottom, baby. Let's do it.
biggest to the smallest, I believe. Starting us off, we have the 99s in our skilling section. We have Fire X with 99 construction. Sparry, that's a name I've never heard before, with 99 fishing.
Told you be on there.
Oh man, I'm gonna fumble through some names that I've never said out loud before. Forvatini with 99 hunter.
It does look like it would be for Vitini. It is not.
What is it?
It's for Vitney.
Forvatini. Ah.
My boy's got 299s left.
Oh, really? What do you know what he has left?
I do not know, but I think he's done with all the shitty skills. So,
Gotcha. Wagner, I think that's how you pronounce that one, with 99 hunter.
he only has one skill left to max.
Yo, we're gonna get some max capes coming up soon.
I think we just might. We just might.
Tanto Tricks with 99 mage. You're gonna have to help me with this one. Is it Dilligaff?
I say Dillygaff, and I don't think we've been corrected.
Okay.
But
He got 99 fletching. Fumble Swing with 99 rune crafting. I Poop Liquids with 99 woodcutting.
I think you guys are just making these things up on purpose now.
Surely.
I read that one this morning and thought, son of a bitch, I'm going to have to read that out loud on
No,
the
you're
show.
making me read it out loud.
Hey, exactly. That was the tack. Yeah, makes Barry read it. I mean, congratulations on the 99 woodcutting. But, like, man, that's one hell of a name.
We got Nico Leo with 99 crafting. And with some total levels, we have Humble Owl and MJ Still with 2k total level. And Hyla, Max's account, doing mining, smithing, herblore, woodcutting, fletching, and rune crafting. Is that what I'm seeing here?
From my understanding, it's all at the same time. I guess he popped all six all at the same time. I was not able to be at the maxing party. We did hold a little event. It was like right after the summer summit ended. He went to the mines west of Lumbridge and maxed. He's been on the grind for a while, but now he said the twisted Hyla arc is coming. He was wiped Hyla, he was toxic Hyla, he was maxing Hyla, and now he is twisted Hyla, which can only mean he's going to be camping the chambers of Zarek for a T-bow on his Iron Man.
Okay, I thought it was going to be
time.
the Twisted Kit. That
It may also be a twisted kit. Who knows? He may be looking for kits too.
that'd be pretty cool.
But
On to the combat section. Now, are these all fire capes?
those are all first fire capes.
There's a lot of gamers in here.
Yep. Big week for fire capes.
First time fire capes, we have.
All right, this one also threw me off. It's pronounced. It reads like Ned Arb Sasnak.
That's what I was gonna say.
But backwards, it's Kansas Braden. So I don't want to dox Kansas here, but I don't know.
All right. Well,
You know who you are, and you got your first fire cape. So
congratulations,
man.
as well as Shusky, Halo Hunter. Shout out to Halo, great game. The Moon Bass, Bill Nye, the FBI guy, and SD Guardsman. Congratulations on your first fire capes, everyone. Huge.
Huge.
Jax got his first Zora Gauntlet and Corrupt Gauntlet, Casey.
All on like the same day
What a
too.
gamer. Going from first Zora to first CG, that's quite a jump in difficulty.
Right? It's pretty intense.
Tanto Tricks getting his elite CAs and all the rewards that come with it. Jack and Clubs getting the Missouri crafting kit. 99 Come with his Infernal Cape. That's absolutely massive.
99. That's Infernal Cum right there. That's
some spicy cum.
Ooh, so bad. It was on his GAM too with a Bofa. Pretty cool.
That's once I max end of the year, hold me accountable. I'm gonna start sending some Inferno attempts.
I mean, you're gonna be in the league, so
that's true.
You can practice the Inferno.
That's true. Good time to do it. And the smallest section we have here, the miscellaneous section, where we have Wheat Toast getting his quest cape, completed all the quests in the game, and Rosjan getting his music cape. I can't remember what he was waiting on for that. It might have been a mimic, but
it's always a damn mimic or a champion scroll.
Yeah, it was one of the two. But congratulations, Roz.
Also, is it Rosjan?
That's how I pronounce it.
Oh, I've been saying Rosgin forever. I know he's part of your rating team, so I know.
I mean, I just usually say Roz, but he hasn't corrected me on it. Maybe when we do 415s tonight, you can correct me.
Maybe. 415s sound disgusting, so I won't be there. But
he DMs me at night and is like 415s, and that's just a quick little duo, one or two before his kid makes him have to stop. Good times.
Oh, Lord.
That's the achievements of the week. I don't think there's anything else.
This normally is where Michael says, or where I say, Michael, do you have a fun question for us? It is fun question time. This feels very out of order because normally Michael leads the fun question, but this time I'm doing it. I'm leading the fun question here. We have a question from the fun question section of our Discord from DRabbit17. And this one's pretty neat, right? He says, what bosses would you like to see escape from their lairs and do battle with one another, Godzilla versus Kong style? That's a fun question. That's like a purely fun question. You got a good answer? All right, why don't you go ahead and hit us? Who's fighting?
The God Wars dungeon bosses. It's lore friendly. You have the 4 generals fighting it out. I think that'd be really cool seeing how that goes.
Would they all team up against Nex?
I think so. If Nex also broke out, because in lore, isn't that what happened? They teamed up to imprison Nex or something?
I think so, yeah. Maybe it is like Godzilla versus King Kong, where they beat the hell out of each other until the Mecha Godzilla equivalent of Nex comes out, and they're like, oh, wait, no, we're friends now,
I think Nex would absolutely smoke all 4 bosses.
100%. 100%.
Purely mechanically, of course. I think mechanically as well, Armadillo would probably beat the shit out of the other 3.
They'd have to get real lucky because they do have like magic and range attacks, but they'd have to get real lucky.
Yeah.
Even
not considering the fact that they wouldn't be able to hit Kriara, just Kriara's attack hitting everyone in the room.
Yeah. Well, like again, they've got like Mandos has the range stomp, Zami has the magic thing where it drains the prayer. I think Sarah also has a magic attack, so like they could beat Kree, but they'd have to be real lucky.
Yeah, if they all teamed up at the same time against Kree. But if it was kind of just, an all-out brawl, I think Kree would come out on top.
Well, that leads me to the next question. Of the 4 DT2 bosses, who wins in a fight?
That's a good one.
Like 2 of them are area confined, which is kind of rough. But like, who wins?
I think Vardorvis is too reliant on his axes, and I don't know if he would have access to his axes in a big fight. Whisperer, you just move, you know?
But does Whisper have access to the Shadow Realm?
What would the Whisperer be without the Shadow Realm? Or I guess...
Prayer flicking
Yeah.
and moving.
I'd think so.
So Duke loses, right? Like Duke loses.
Yeah, Duke
for
loses.
Sure,
Duke just is stuck in a wall. It's a big blob.
Yeah, Duke doesn't go anywhere. I think it's between Whisper and Leviathan.
I think it would be Leviathan.
Yeah, I think so. I unless Whisperer got Leviathan, if they both enter the enraged phase at the same time, I think Whisperer would win. Because I think Whisperer would do more consistent damage to Leviathan.
Yeah. Can Leviathan go insane? Because I think that changes the dynamic.
Well, that's a dynamic against all the bosses, right? If sanity is a factor, I think for sure Whisperer wins because she could easily drive them insane, right? Leviathan can't move away from the tentacles, so Leviathan, by that logic, would die pretty early.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Vardorvis would have a bit better of a chance then, but I think I think Whisperer would probably come out on top then.
If only if there's access to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
I think not the sanity bit. I think without sanity I think Leviathan takes it.
I agree.
What other bosses? I kind of want to see Vorkath versus Zulrah.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Like those seem like two evenly matched fights right there. Vorkath versus Zulrah for sure.
Yeah.
In the recording booth chat, Rongarian says Zuck versus Ulm. That would be really cool for like a kaiju fight. Like they're both just like destroying cities as they fight one another. That would be sick. Who would win though?
I mean, you know, Zuck hits hard, but he's relying on like the other stuff going on in his chamber. Does he get access to healers?
I don't know. Maybe it's tough. I mean, I'm just trying to picture like almost like Pacific Rim, right? Like Zuck versus Ulm is kind of like big rock automaton versus giant dragon. Like who wins? You know, with biting and clawing and punching and kicking and all the different special attacks that they would have. Like who takes that? You know, be a battle for the ages right there.
I'd pay to see that fight.
I would too. I would also pay to see P3 Verzik versus every other arthropod in the game. So every other Scorpius, Arachnus, Venenatus, all three of those all squared up against Verzik P3.
Think Verzik comes out on top?
100%, I think so, yeah. But, like, you never know. Maybe they could get lucky. I don't think they get lucky, but maybe. Because all the arthropods are very mobile. They're very leggy, and they move a lot.
Yeah.
Hell, we'll throw Spindle in there, too, because why not? What do we really have to lose by putting Spindle in there? Spindle's going to get absolutely, sat the down, but...
Yeah, Spindle lasts 3 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, hey, 3 seconds could be a long time. You know what I'm saying? For some of us, it could be a PB here. All right? Chill. Ooh. PNM versus Nex.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think Nex would... I actually don't know. Actually, that's
tough, right? Fazani's versus Nex. Who wins?
Fazani's has a lot going on.
Yeah, but like Nex is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Access to ancient magics and all the different mechanics going on there.
But then you got the shadow claws from Fazani's.
Sleepwalkers and yeah. Ooh. I don't know. I think that one's pretty close.
That might be a tie right there. Fazani's and Nex might be a tie. I'm looking at the high score sheet right now.
Are you gonna say Obor versus Bryophyta? Is that what I was?
100%. I was gonna say Obor versus Bryophyta.
Which giant's better?
That would be so fun.
I think Obor clobbers Bryo.
Well, Bryophyta has a sword. She just doesn't use it.
True. That's true.
I don't know. My money might be on Bryophyta there. I'm not sure.
All right, here's a one from left field. The skilling bosses. Wintertodt, Temporos. Is that the only two that are actually considered bosses? Yeah, Wintertodt versus
Hespori.
Hespori. Yeah, who would win?
Oh. Well, considering Temporos doesn't do any damage, I think Temporos is an easy loss.
Yeah. Well, can the Wintertodt or Hespori fish to prevent a wipe?
I think the cold would seep into Temporos's bones, quote unquote, and freeze all the water.
Okay, so
like
couldn't wipe the other two.
I mean, if Wintertodt attacked fast enough, because Lord knows, every time you try to start fletching, the cold of the toad seeps into your bones. Every single goddamn time.
You're talking to someone with 17 million fire-making XP.
Shittiest piece of content in the game, folks.
I'm more than aware.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I want them to go back and like just make the content a little bit better. It doesn't have to be terrible.
Yeah. Or once you have the hard combat achievements done, Wintertodt just doesn't suck anymore. Like it's they just take everything away from Wintertodt that sucks, and it's just a fire making training.
Give us the fires from Making Friends with My Arm.
Yep, that'd be awesome. Yeah. I think Wintertodt takes it because can you imagine a boss that's made of trees utilizing fire to destroy an ice monster?
Yeah, no.
We all know that grass is weak to ice type. So
as soon as the little flowers spawn as well, Wintertodt just hits them all with a little cold snap in the bin.
Yeah, it's in the bin. I think Wintertodt takes, which is so terrible because Wintertodt's the worst.
Yeah. Good.
Last one. All the Slayer bosses in a big arena together. Who comes out on top?
Okay, so the Slayer bosses, you have Grotesque Guardians. You have... I'm looking through the list right now. Thermi.
So GG's, Sire, Serb, Thermi, Kraken, Hydra.
Okay, yeah. Ooh. I think Hydra has to be up there, right?
I think Hydra's up there as long as you don't factor in his floor stuff.
Yeah, Hydra without floor stuff, I think brings it down a bit, maybe. Because floor stuff includes like the flames and the lightning, right?
No, I meant like you don't have to drag it over a vent.
Okay.
Because then that limits where the arena could take. Like that limits the fight. Like I think environmental stuff, like the floor vents at Hydra and like the tentacles at Sire, I think those are not. For this scenario, I don't think they're entirely fair.
Actually,
because I think the other bosses
might be pretty high up there. Because Sire can dish out some damage, especially with the Scions.
Does Cerberus get the ghosts? Yeah.
Oh, the ghosts.
Scions hate those Scions. I hate that combat task.
It's not a good combat task. It's bad.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, I spent like 2 or 3 hours trying to get that one. It was not a good time. Shoot, this is a tough one.
We all know Kraken loses,
Kraken
so that's not
loses,
even in the running. Kraken and Thermi are... But, okay, does Thermi lose?
I think so. Because...
Typeless 2-tick damage?
Yeah, but I think Thermi, without any other mechanics going on, just kind of dies. It hurts everyone else quite a bit, but not... I don't think Thermi kills anyone on its way out.
Yeah, Thermi's the DPS check. But Thermi does go down for sure. Maybe Thermi kills Kraken, then Thermi dies. So we're pretty much left with Sire, Serb, Grotesque Guardians, and Hydra.
I think Grotesque Guardians it survives a while because there's 2 of them, but I don't think it beats anyone there.
I don't know.
Because I'm assuming the other bosses are engaging with the mechanics, so they're stepping away when they need to.
I mean, if all the mechanics of the bosses are taken into account, I think Cerberus wins.
Yeah, I can.
Because of them damn ghosts.
Yeah, the ghosts are pretty rough. Bird.
Though some of Hydra's floor attacks might be really, really punishing.
Mm-hmm. No flame skip. All the bosses just get perma-stunned until they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, yeah. Hydra gets harder the lower health they're at, so... Ooh,
yeah.
That might be... I think that might be the winner. As soon as the flames come out.
I think it's between Hydra and Cerb for me.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I had to give the win to Hydra, personally. Other than Ghost, I don't think Cerb has too much going for it.
Not really, no. It's got the ground, like the Gur lava thing, but I don't think that's super... It's only like... If you're standing directly on it, it's like 15 every other tick, so it's a lot of damage.
Yeah, you can get stacked out by it, but...
Yeah. You're right, I think Hydra takes it.
Yeah, and then when it goes into the black phase and it starts shooting acid pools, too.
Yeah, it's jadding with the acid everywhere. That's, yeah. Oh,
good question.
That was a good question. That was fun. That was a purely fun question. Thank you, D-Rabbit.
Fantastic.
Next time we'll have to do like what arenas would they all fight in? You know, what's the temple / Final Destination equivalent of old school RuneScape?
Do we just put them in the empty field where Prifdinus is now?
We could do that. Yeah, we could. Frankly, the Inferno without pillars is a really nice, like where you fight the multi-jads. That's a really good challenge space.
I mean, any
big
hold square area KBD layer.
Yeah. I got one more. It's all 6 jads versus each other.
Okay.
It's like a 6 jad free for all, and all the jads are trying to kill each other.
I mean, Jad wins, of course.
Oh, my money's also on Jad.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have to number like that'd be like horse racing right there. Like Jads 1 through 6. Like, come on, I got 50 mil on Jad 4. Like that would be fantastic.
Yeah. And there's not complicated mechanics. It's just they're hitting each other.
Yep. Are they gonna hit or are they not? Are they gonna do anything? Can a Jad out DPS a Jad's healers?
Oh. It attacks
or would a Jad have
slow.
to target a Jad's? Yeah, every 8 ticks.
Yeah.
So do Jads have to spend a majority of their time targeting other Jads healers?
I think so.
But the fight. It's like an hour-long battle.
If Jad
at that point.
full heals, Jad gets more healers, right?
I don't know.
I believe that's how that works.
That's ridiculous. So it'd be the eternal struggle then at that point. We'd have to do Jad versus Jad and see how it goes, and then put 6 Jads in an arena together. Because I think if they all ganged up on one another, like 5 Jads versus 1 Jad, that 1 Jad's going down for sure. You know?
SOS brings up that
I don't
they
know
hit
how they
90s, which is true. But Jad has... How much HP does Jad have? 250? So, you've got to hit 3 really big hits.
Jaltalk Jad has 350 hit points.
Using those Jads.
It has a max hit of 113.
Yeah, so it could 3-bang it, but you've got a high roll, and also...
It'd be 4-bang, I think. 13 is what? 39? 300? So yeah, you'd have to hit it. You'd have to get 4 good hits.
Okay.
And then healers proc at what hit points level? Like 175, I think. So
yeah, I don't know how quickly the healers can bring up the HP within 8 ticks.
All right, let's see. The Yiturkot, which are the healers, right? These little bastards can heal. Let's see. Popular methods. Let's see.
They heal 15 to 24 every 4 ticks per healer.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so what's the average of that? It's like 20 health every 4 ticks, so like 5 health a tick per healer. How many healers are there? Is it 5?
In the 6 Jad challenge, it's 5.
Yeah. So it's 25 health a tick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a Jad v Jad will not be able to out DPS the healer. And I question whether or not they could out DPS the healers before they get up Jad to full health again. It might be the
I don't know if
Eternal
the
struggle.
healers come back though in the 6 Jad challenge.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Oh, it's just in the fight caves that they respawn.
Okay.
So-
So in theory,
Yeah.
you pretty much have to kill Jad halfway, kill all the healers, and then kill Jad again. So like once it got to the point where maybe that'd be like the honors system. Like all Jads would proc healers on one another, and then they would have to kill all the healers, and then it would be like a gentleman's agreement, you know? Like they don't actually try to kill each other until all the healers are dead.
Yeah.
Who knows? A Jadalman's agreement, if you will.
You know, maybe there's that one rogue
that's
Jad
good.
that tries to take one out.
Rogue Jad. What a dick. But thank you, D-Rabbit. That was a good question. Sparre, my friend, I think it's about time we wrap things up here on XP Waste.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if you want to do 2 back-to-back 4-hour episodes.
Boy, I really don't, but I can't go to practice this week, so Lord knows I've got the free time. It's been an honor having you on the
Yeah,
show.
thank
Glad to almost do a 4-hour episode with you twice now.
Yeah, good times.
One for Guthix Rest and one for XP Waste. So before we head out, who the hell are you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, once again, I'm a guy named Sparre. If you want to find what I do, you can head over to the Twitter that I run for Guthix Rest, which is twitter.com/GuthixRestPod, where we have a link to all of our stuff, where you can find our podcast, which is available on any platform you can think of. And if it's not, then you can DM me and I can add it. It's really easy.
Sweet. Well, thank you. All those links will be in the description down below. Just like all the links you'll ever need for us. All of our social links, our merch store link, Patreon link, it'll all be in there. Go check it out. Enjoy it. The Discord link, which I think we forgot to plug after Achievement of the Week, discord.gg/OSRSTNL. Come hang out.
Awesome clan.
Yeah, I mean, call me biased, but it is certainly an awesome plan. I do say so myself.
Before TNL, I never really interacted with a RuneScape clan. I tried a few, didn't really enjoy them, but you know, TNL got me out of my shell, so good time.
It's like we said, baby. Best Discord in the world. Summer Summit's going to have some good shit that comes our way, folks. Get excited for it. With that, though, we leave you until the next summit. Until next week. Michael should be back in his rightful place next week. But
thank you for letting me
we
be substitute
will
Michael this week.
Always, my friend, always. I think that's going to do it for us, though, folks. We will see you guys next week.